Maybe I texted Maria.
Somebody's yelling in our ear.
McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. It is Friday, September 11th, 2020. Anytime you hear the date September 11th, you obviously have to think back to September 11th, 2001, which was 9th grade for me. I was sitting in a keyboard typing computer class, freshman in high school. And obviously high school had just begun at that point, so I wasn't really well liked, I don't think, by a lot of the older upperclassmen, but my grade, I kind of got along with them. So I was trying to find that fine balance of whether or not I should talk more or less, and it was kind of a weird thing. And then that day, September 11th, 2001 hit, and everything changed, I think, across the entire country. Obviously, something heinous happened and something terrible happened that rattled us to our core. Rest in peace to all those that lost their lives. Big thanks to all the first responders that sprinted towards danger as opposed to away from danger. We learned a lot about our country, and I always think back to immediately what happened after, the days that followed. Just the days that followed. Not the lingering effect afterwards, but the day maybe after, maybe September 12th, 2001, and it felt as if there was a wake-up call to the people of our country. Now, there's always going to be, holes of the ass, and there's always going to be bad people who don't think like everybody else, but it felt as if our country felt whole. It felt as one. It felt like petty differences were dropped. It felt like everybody realized we're in this thing together. We were attacked as a country, it felt like, as opposed to just being individual groups. Now, there's always going to be hate in people's hearts. There's some people that are just going to live that way forever. But in the world that I got a chance to experience as a freshman in high school, and I traveled around for soccer, and I feel like I had a pretty good network of humans around me, it was the first time that it felt like petty differences didn't matter anymore. So we'll never forget. We will always remember September 11th, 2001. And anybody that was alive and was of age of remembering anything will always remember that day, especially because it was just so, it was out of nowhere. And for me, nothing like that had ever happened before. I assume the older generations all have their individual moments that something happened, or whether it's Pearl Harbor, D-Day, you name it, all those types of things. For us, September 11th, especially my generation, was the first time we had ever been hit just blindsided out of nowhere. And you can't ever forget about that. Won't ever be able to forget about that. We'll talk to my kids one day about it. And hopefully the story that'll come out of it is the badass heroes of first responders, the people that lost their lives in a senseless act, rest in peace, always remember them. And then the country feeling as if it was together for a little bit. Now, that obviously changed, and it has changed drastically to the world that we're currently in. It feels like everybody's fighting everybody for whatever reasons, and for good reasons, someplace. I just hope that we can one day become whole as one, even more so than we did on September 12th, 2001, or September 13th, 2001. And that'll always be my memory of September 11th. And it's a wild day, hard to even say the date. When it comes out of your mouth, you just go, September 11th, crazy. You just automatically get hit with a rush of emotions and memories and feelings. And it's one of those things. It's nice for us to kind of chat about what's possible. It's nice to remember the humans, the superheroes we walking amongst us in the first responders world. And it's nice to remember that we can come together if we just go ahead and stop being assholes to each other. With that being said, football came back last night in a big, big way. Woo! The NFL 2020 season kicked off in Kansas City, Missouri. And the Kansas City Chiefs obviously had a banner that was debuted, and they were introed, and there was 17,000 fans in Arrowhead Stadium. But if you think about from a football perspective, and a football perspective only, and the Kansas City Chiefs somehow played a different style of offense. They like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, by the way. Helaire, the H is silent. Ground and pound them down. Somehow the most explosive offense, maybe the most explosive offense the NFL has ever seen, okay? Being down 24, flipping that in one quarter, ending up winning by 20 in a playoff game. Maybe the most explosive offense the NFL has ever seen. Now also having the capability to ground and pound if they want, whenever the hell they want, is absolutely wild. Like real wild. How the hell are you supposed to stop the Kansas City Chiefs? That's what you have to ask yourself right now if you're an NFL fan after watching that game. There were a few drops last night, so it was supposed to be even more efficient than it was, by the way. 2 touchdowns were dropped. You got it. It's the first game of the year. If that offensive line can continue to road great like that, and CEH, as we call him on Twitter because we don't have enough characters, can continue to make legendary vision decisions. He was cutting on a dime for a rookie who didn't have any preseason games. He had this vision, he had this burst, he had this speed, he had this everything that was just unbelievable. He might, and this is quite a powerful word here, but he might make the Kansas City Chiefs uncompete with the ball.
Yep.
That was a rather obvious blowout coming last night, and I said that very loudly yesterday when you started thinking about the matchup. Can this be stopped? No. Can that potentially be stopped? No. Can you stop Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce? No. Can you stop Sammy Watkins then if you're stopping those? No. And I didn't even fucking know what Clyde Edwards-Helaire was going to do. Can you stop that? No. Did the defense get worse or better than last year? They got that rookie back who was hurt for the end of the season. He comes back, second-year guy. That defense, by the way, in those magical comebacks had to put a stop to the other team. And one said, well, did they get better? Yeah, it's wild. The only real question mark comes in the punter position. That's the only real question mark is the punter position because they had to get rid of longtime punting legend Dustin Colquitt. No Dollar Left Behind was in that decision, I believe, so they could sign literally everybody in their building to massive deals. Dustin Colquitt had to fall victim to that. And Colquitt understood why it happened. I think he even expected it to happen. He got a Super Bowl ring, and now he has a chance to win one with the same team his dad played for in Pittsburgh. So that's pretty cool in all for Dustin Colquitt. But the Chiefs punter is a rookie. He hit a butte last night, hit a nice little thing. He has incredible flow. His jawline is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I remember him being a freak athlete at Florida. I think he ran a couple fakes. And Tommy Townsend's his name. He's younger brother of Johnny Townsend, who is also an NFL punter out of Florida. A little side note here. Much like their previous punter, Dustin Colquitt, whose brother also punted in the NFL. Is that why they signed Tommy Townsend? Ooh. They said, we want to get a family of punters in here so they understand what it's like. Potentially that is. But he is literally the only question mark on that entire roster. Offense got better. Defense got better. Kicker, still a stud. Punter is the only question mark. Are they uncompete-withable? That is the conversation we will have. Is that an overreaction? Absolutely. But that is what we do here. Let's introduce the boys. At Tone Diggs is here. At Boston Connor's here. Ty Schmidt, Jason, Zito, Foxy, Mr. Mansouri, Gumpy, Nick, Billy Tubes, the whole squad. Last night was awesome. Last night sitting down, watching the television. Here we go. Rodney Harrison had quite a moment there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what happened. I would assume somebody who was in his ear told him to stop talking right in the middle of his sentence as uncomfortably as possible. Let Mike Tirico finish your sentence here so it's like you guys are on the same page. But the coverage was great. It was good chatting. Here we go. The game's back. Now, there's some questions on what happened before the game.
Oh, are there questions?
There's questions. Okay, so there's a lot of talk about what happened before the game. Obviously, national anthem happened. One player for the Kansas City Chiefs kneeled while the Houston Texans stayed in the locker room, which, by the way, I think that's going to be a move that a lot of teams are going to do. I think the Miami Dolphins even said that they were going to do that. Once the Houston Texans come onto the field, there's that moment where they wanted to show unity with each other, which, by the way, is what football is. Every messaging was, let's end racism, let's be together, let's be unified. By the way, much like it felt in my world, not everybody's world, I guess, from what I've learned on Twitter, but on September 12th, 2001, September 13th, where it felt unified, it was a message of unity, and there was some audible sounds that came from the crowd, okay? And the internet obviously heard the audible sounds and immediately said, oh, they're booing, okay? So then, after the game, Bill O'Brien said he didn't hear the booing. Patrick Mahomes said he didn't hear booing. Andy Reid said he didn't hear booing. J.J. Watt said he did hear booing.
He did.
Then this morning on basically every talk show, it's like Kansas City Chiefs fans booed a sign of unity against racism. And I immediately, upon hearing what happened last night on my TV while I was in the kitchen, still finishing up my meal there, you know what I mean? I was still putting together a nice Frosted Flakes with marshmallows.
Oh, jeez.
Frosted Flakes with marshmallows is very good. But I heard the sound, and I was like, oh, is that booing? And I remember playing at the Kingdom over there. And one of the greatest traditions in maybe the NFL that we have, if you're a player or a visiting team, I mean, there's a lot of them, obviously. When White Stripes 7 Nation Army starts going in Baltimore, it is awesome. When Renegade hits in Pittsburgh, it is next level. But in Kansas City, whenever they sing the national anthem, and you get to the part, obviously, at the end where it goes, and the home of the entire city of Kansas City, including everybody in that stadium, 77,000 or whatever they say it is, goes, Chiefs! Okay, and it's not Chiefs. It's not like that. It is a deep, low Chiefs. So I thought, literally while watching, I was like, are they booing, or is that potentially them doing the Chiefs thing when this is supposed to be a moment of silence? So whatever happened, the Chiefs fans weren't listening to the person that was talking. It was supposed to be a moment of silence. But I think automatically jumping to saying that they booed a show of unity is quite an aggressive thing to say about an entire fan base. I mean, that is quite an aggressive. You know what, Kansas City Chiefs fans? They actually like racism.
Oh,
They booed something that was going to get, like, that's basically what everybody He's saying on TV right now. That's what the internet said. And we got a chance to and J.J. Watt saying he heard boos was the only thing that was like, oh, it had to be boos. But then there's a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans who listen to this show and follow me on Twitter. And there was a couple that were at the game that were sending us videos that were like, hey, that wasn't a boo. That was us saying Chiefs or whatever. And if you have your mindset, and we'll let you be the judge. By the way, we weren't there, so I can't tell you. I know Billy O said no. Andy Reid said no. Pat Mahomes said no. J.J. said yes. So there's even mixed reactions from people that were there. But listen to this video coming from the stands and tell me if you hear Chiefs, like a loud Chiefs, or if it's exactly a boo. I assume there's some people booing because, like I said in the open, there's always going to be assholes that have, want to be loud and obnoxious and whatever. I bought a ticket. I'm here. I'm allowed to act however I want to act. They told me to have a moment of silence. They want to do this. I'm here to watch football. I'll boo. I assume there was a couple of those. But I think there was a few people doing the Chiefs chant too, because I assume they were very intoxicated, and that's one of the things that they do at that stadium. Let's run that video.
Thank you.
So I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we started that video from the beginning either, which is a wild setup here that we just had. But because we caught it right there in the middle, so we kind of did exactly what everybody else did there.
Well, are they booing? Yeah.
But you do hear a little, I think you do hear a little cheese if you listen to it. And I'm only saying that because I've been there and getting to hear it is just awesome. And I don't want to just paint an entire fan base as a group that hates unity and potentially doesn't want to end racism, which is wild. That's a wild thing to say about a group of humans, by the way. That is a very, very offensive thing to say about people. But if they were booing, I mean, well-deserved, to hell with all of them. But it could have been one of their very, very notable chants, which is a very, it's like whenever Heath Miller got the ball, whenever he was in Pittsburgh, the entire place. We had a guy named Boom Heron who's from Ohio State that was one of our running backs. Anytime he got the ball, the whole place would boom. And they're not booing you, it's boom. They're not booing you, then boom. So you never know with that entire thing. But for me, I can't, I mean, JJ said it was booze. Other people said it wasn't. It's like, which one is it? I don't want to just automatically paint an entire fan base as a group that hates the potential stoppage of racism. I mean, that's a bit aggressive.
Well, and to your point, like last night, if you maybe didn't see it live on TV, you just assumed immediately, like, okay, they booed for sure. And it wasn't until this morning, because when I watched it on TV, it did sound like that as well. But when you hear those videos, like, you do kind of hear the cheer to start it off.
Which, by the way, drunk people, if that is their chant and that's what they do. I mean, granted, let's have a little bit more situational awareness here.
Yeah.
That, hey, the Chief does,
sure.
And they said moment of silence. Let's go ahead and maybe have a moment of silence there. Let's buy into the whole thing. I think that is something that people could go after him for. And they were clapping, by the way, and cheering for it while the person, before the person said anything. I just think the entire narrative of that thing being that they were booing it is like, I mean, that's a bit of fucking aggressive there. I mean, I don't know if the entire place was booing. Maybe a couple people were. Maybe a couple people were cheering Chiefs. But if you're not there, you don't know. JJ saying it was boo, though, I got to take him for his word, I guess.
If
but
you
everybody else said no.
If you think logically, like, it's not during the anthem, it has nothing to do with the flag. So if they're booing unity, which is
wild.
Absurd to think about. Maybe, but also I saw a lot of people, maybe they were just booing the Texans walking on the field.
Yeah, because the Texans came on after the national anthem. Yeah. And then it wasn't completely talked about whose side's going to be on whose side here. We got to be on this place. So it looked a little bit of a cluster. I'm trying not to say the word.
No, you can do it now, though.
No, because Feel Good Friday, I would like the fucking douchebags that listen to this show that don't like it on Sirius XM. No, it was a little bit of a cluster there to set it up, but I thought it was a cool thing. I thought it was a very cool thing. I liked the way the NFL handled it. And once the game started, I mean, it felt really good football there early. There was a couple of missed tackles, I guess, which is going to happen in the first game, but football looked good. Patrick Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I said it in the open there. This dude, I did not expect him to be like he is. I did not expect him to play the way he played. Now, granted, Andy Reid was feeding him. Kind of fucked up our Super Boost a bit because we had Patrick Mahomes throwing over 300 yards a part of it, which, if you look at the score, you'd assume that Patrick Mahomes did that. But this team has a dynamic offensive weapon that they didn't have last year, which is a first-round running back who can hit it and get it, and seems like he's going to be, the way he plays, seems like he's a durable play. Now, Who knows with running backs? I guess he could get hurt or whatever. 25 times they fed him while still being able to get Travis Kelce his touches. He rushed for 138 yards and a tud in his rookie debut, starting running back. Damian Williams, appreciate you taking a stand. I appreciate you taking a stand saying it's for your health and your safety, your family. I don't know why you did it, but it feels like that's potentially a spot that is going to be tough to get back for that guy because Andy Reid, he loves Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, you got to think at halftime, Tyreek Hill might have said, hey, listen, I understand I'm a distraction. That's what you guys are going to use me as all year. They used me as this last year. You had me run all over the field back and forth, so they had to have somebody chase it. And then on that first touchdown pass, I got overturned because the guy didn't hold on to it long enough because he got hit in the head. Yeah. By the way, the guy got hit in the head, loses the ball or whatever. They had Tyreek Hill just sprint right across that safety's face, and the safety has to follow him. Yep. That guy's wide open on the backside. That is going to happen a lot. And I think at halftime, they're like, all right, who has Travis Kelce's got the ball? Yeah, we got him. Okay, Sammy Watkins got the ball? Yeah. We fed Clyde. We got him feeling good? Yeah. Okay, who haven't we hit yet? Tyreek Hill. Okay, well, this second half, we're going to hit Tyreek Hill. Boom, 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 touchdown for Tyreek Hill. They somehow managed to take care of everybody while introducing a brand new facet to their offense. That team, and by the way, Texans early looked not bad.
Yeah.
Very good. David Johnson.
All the way back. Looks like he's back. 2015 David Johnson, he looks like he's back. Now, Brandon Cooks made a couple catches. I didn't think he was going to play because he was hurt a little bit. Deshaun Watson made a couple throws. But then it just got to the point where it was like, you're never going to be able to stop them. They dropped the ball a couple times. You're just not going to be able to stop them. And it felt like the Chiefs' defense there in the middle of the game kind of figured it out too. And then at the end, they obviously let off for whatever reason. They weren't able to finish the game. They went into like a prevent, which it prevents you from winning usually. I mean, it is. I was a part of an Indianapolis Colts team with Andrew Luck, who whenever we saw prevent, we're like, all right, we're still in this game. And we were, by the way. We'd be down 20, and it's like, oh, they're not even going to play defense anymore? Cool. But that's something you learn early. And maybe with the lack of fans, by the way, you can drift out. If you're up 21 points in a game, it can be tough to stay in it. But that defense kind of figured out. Houston Texans early looked very good. Then they looked very bad. And is that because the Kansas City Chiefs, or is that because the Houston Texans? I guess it's TBD. But the Chiefs look exactly like the playoff Chiefs and the Super Bowl Chiefs that they were. And there doesn't seem to be much of a drop-off. And they add that guy. I think that team is going to be tough this year.
And you and AJ talked about it yesterday. On Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's touchdown run, there's nobody in the box because they have to spread out so much because of Watkins and Kelce and Hill. And then he makes one move and it's a touchdown. It's impossible to defend.
It almost felt like Andy Reid was trying to get them to bring somebody down into the box early.
Yes.
Like, all right, we'll just hand. And then it worked, by the way, with that shot.
Yep.
And then the drop happens, and then somehow they get tackled on third down for a massive sack and they have to punt. And then Tommy Townsend with his first punt blasted in the end zone, which I could have told you was going to happen. First punt in the NFL, didn't have a preseason game. You were going to hit the shit out of that. I mean, that's just the way it's going to go. But that was quite a turning point, obviously, that drop early for Houston. It was like, wait a minute. Is Houston going to make this thing a game?
They scored.
And I was questioning, they get down. Dave Johnson's making cuts. He looks like he's 2015. I mean, it's just like, it is. I don't know, man. I think that team, and this is, we do overreact here.
Nah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
We do overreact.
Rightfully so.
But they just won the Super Bowl and just looked the exact same. So I don't know if it is overreaction.
Yeah, they look better.
Yeah, they do. They look better. And it's potentially uncompete-withable.
I feel like we didn't even get a look of him catching balls out of the backfield either, and that's like what they praised him about when they drafted him. Like all he did, they just ran it right down their throats. Like he's going to be huge in the passing game too.
All right, we have to get to a break. 22 minutes after the hour here. Tom Pelissaro from the NFL Network joins us on the other sside. Dan Orlovsky in the second hour.
Danny O.
Anytime Dan Orlovsky comes on the show, it is good. Because we will take shots at Dan Orlovsky.
Oh, yeah.
And Dan Orlovsky, by the way, will take shots back. And it's a good conversation. NFL Live, the show that he is now a host of, is doing well. Then we have AJ Hawk in the third hour and plenty of your calls as well. 1-888-MAD-DOG. Tom Pelissaro joins us on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. I'd also potentially taken over their 30 edibles because I thought more teammates of mine were going to want to indulge in that either before the game or after the game. And to get to London, you go through your own TSA here. The team has TSA that you have to check in. Here's my passport. The Colts already have it. They took it all from everybody. It's literally you get your bags checked and then you're through. Put them in a little thing. We're good to go. It's the team's TSA. Get on the bus, fly over there. I forgot all about them. Didn't utilize them at all because how things quickly changed.
Right.
After we lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we're on a team bus. They go, hey, we're going through Heathrow Airport through the real-life TSA. And at that moment, I look around. I go, oh, no. I have some things in my bag right now that have vitamins in them. I have to get rid of them. And at that point, I'd whittled it down to like 15 of them. And I look at Vinatieri, and I'm like, buddy, not good. He was like, what are you going to do? I was like, I guess I'm just going to throw them away in here. Couldn't do that because right next to the trash can was an English police officer. So I couldn't just walk up and dump a bunch of edibles into the thing next to the guy. He's going to ask questions. We're going to the Heathrow Airport. Now I got to do what I got to do. We finally get there. Police escorts, a lot going on. So I just take down 13 edibles.
Yikes.
See you later. Vinatieri looks at me and goes, how you doing, bub? I was like, good now, but things are about to happen. He goes, I got you, little buddy. I'm like, thank you. So we go through the little check-in thing. And right before we get to the scan of the bags thing, it all hits me. I might as well have been on Cloud 45 over there in London. They check my bag, boom, boom, boom. I get selected. Something was in my bag. So now all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, did I leave a couple in there? Oh my God. Vinatieri starts walking ahead. He turns around, he's like, what's going on? I'm like, they got my bag, man. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. So he comes and stands with me. He's like, I got you, bub. I was like, they might got me, for real. I might be staying the night in England. They go through my bag. Turns out, had a vibrating toothbrush. Thing was vibrating in my bag.
Yep.
They're like, oh, it must have been this. Or it must have been my big-ass toothpaste because you can't fly with that. I was like, you got it, pal. I get all the way back to the plane. Lost my ticket somewhere. Somehow I don't have a ticket. So now I got to check into the gate people that I don't have a ticket. I'm like, I'm on this plane. I promise I am, but I don't have a ticket. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, Patrick McAfee. The McAfee? No, yeah, whatever you want to call me. I just need a ticket. So now I have to sit there and wait as somebody brings me a ticket from the front while my entire team walks by me, knowing that I'm on Cloud 50, just having a good time. Grigson walks by, just upset, obviously. I wish he would have known that I was in a mood where he should have talked to me there. It was just a nightmare. The London trip for me from beginning to end was not good.
Mr. Belisar, can you stand
for a
more
lot
in the
of
center?
NFL players.
Perfect.
Doing it for the brand. It's the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Yeah, we're professional here.
Excellent bump.
We are professional here. What you just heard is what we like to call in the biz a bump.
Oh,
Yeah.
big bump.
Just kind of let you know what you're listening to and then knows somber rhythmic beats are from. It's called a Sour Twiz beat by Wavy Kong. Wavy
I like Wavy.
Kong. Joining us now is a very wavy man himself. He's from the NFL Network, and he's also on NFL Network's NFL Now, which airs daily at 1 p.m., which is about 32 minutes from now. Ladies and gentlemen, the ever so handsome and young-looking Tom Pelissaro. Attaboy, Tommy.
How we doing?
I'm great, Tom. I've never seen NFL Now. Is that on television? Is it on the internet? What is it?
I think it's kind of everywhere. We're told digital's very important right now.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of clips digitally, and then, yes, it's over the television as well.
Oh, okay. So you're on the television. You got your big boy suit on right now. You got your tie on.
It's the season now. No more polos. No more messing around. We got to suit up here.
Let's talk about the season and let's get to it. And Tom Pelissaro is an insider. The man knows everything about everything. Last night, I thought Brandon Cooks wasn't going to play because they called him questionable. Then he was a big part of their offense early, kind of drifted away. We got a lot of other injuries for some big-name players around the league right now. Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay just popped up out of nowhere. Nobody nobody knows what's going to happen there. Are these things, because it's first week, we're making a bigger emphasis of these questionable things? Or is this the teams potentially trying to hide who's playing? Or is there a real reason to worry about Mike Evans, Golladay, and others that are listed as questionable right now?
Well, with Kenny Golladay on a Friday, anytime that you don't practice or practice in a very limited fashion, I think that's naturally cause for concern. Mike Evans getting back toward the end of the week.
Oh, no, the Lions stink.
Season's over.
The Lions stink. They're favored, too, and they just lost their only guy.
Oh, this can't happen.
They
Being
stink
limited
this
with a
early.
hamstring on Friday generally would not be considered to be a real great sign. Evans coming back, that's a better sign. I think that there's definitely an element of it where every team knows that there were no preseason games. You had far fewer updates. You've got all kinds of depth chart questions on different teams. I'll tell you this. There has been less information that people are willing to give out from within teams about their roster than ever before. When I talk to general managers or personnel directors or coaches or whatever, normally you can talk about, hey, you're excited about this undrafted rookie. You're excited. You think this guy's going to make an impact. Everybody this year is like, yeah, I'm just not going to talk about that. We don't want to get too far into it because nobody knows. I mean, I'm going to be covering the Vikings-Packers game on Sunday for game day morning. I got an idea how the Vikings are going to line up on defense, but they've got all new corners. And because you've got no preseason tape, their first-round draft pick, Jeff Gladney, their third-round pick, Cam Dantzler, they're likely both in the game plan, but who's playing the slot, who's playing outside? If you're Aaron Rodgers, you're obviously going to be looking for those guys. You got fewer answers than you normally would have. Week one is always a year of, a sort of an event of the unknown in terms of the adjustments that have to take place. But this year it's probably even more so just because anybody who's a new piece on a different team, you don't ultimately know how the coaches envision them fitting in.
Okay, so you just did a little drop there. When I'm talking to GMs and when I'm talking to owners of teams, and, when head coaches are just texting me late at night, they're not telling
That's
me.
like you saying, Pat, that's like you saying when I'm doing my radio show and I'm talking to the producers, like it's literally my job. It's not a drop. It's just
Okay. So is it just kind of understood that whenever you become an NFL Network insider, or do you build up those connections before you get to NFL Network, or once you get to NFL Network is then when you start building those connections and the GMs understand like, okay, we have the media and us have to have a relationship of some sort. That's how this entire business operates. But I always wonder this with insiders. Okay. Schefter can't talk to anybody. I'd assume nobody talks to Schefter and has a real conversation with him. And I would assume in your world, it's Woj, same thing. Shams Charania, same thing. I would assume for you, people have to be very careful with what they tell you. Is there ever a conversation where they say something, they're like, well, you can't talk about that. And then you're like, well, why'd you tell me? Like, does that happen on a regular basis in your world?
I would just say this. There are plenty of occasions where you are holding information for a variety of different reasons. For me personally, and this is not judging anybody else, I'm not big on the incremental, this team's interested in this guy. Now it's this team, like the kind of half. It's you try to break the story or don't half break things. We got the entire lingo. When I'm texting with, Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo, my coworkers about this stuff, there's an entire system here, the ecosystem of you break, then people will unbreak it, then you got a half break. You'll get these little bits that dribble out. It's like either the contract's done or it's not. Like there's no close. Any agent or GM will tell you that. Like, there's nothing. What does that mean? Close? Is it done? No, then it's not done. That's it. It's a complicated universe. I would say on the bigger question, this is year 18. Believe it or not, Pat. My first job out of college was covering the Vikings in 2003. So this has been going on a while. So you build those relationships over time. Frankly, you learn who is actually going to tell you the truth. And who, every time they tell you something, you kind of have to immediately assume the opposite.
Is Bruce Arians a known liar? Because he just said Mike Evans did some individual work today in practice, and they'll see if he's sore tomorrow. He's still likely a game-time decision. Mike Evans obviously has to be pumped that he has Tom Brady as his quarterback. Not that he wasn't, that Jameis was there. But that offense is electrifying on paper. Mike Evans has to be one of those guys where Bruce Arians is thinking, do we need Mike Evans this week? We have a plethora of weapons. We can get him 100% healthy. Or do you think Mike Evans is a guy who is going to play this weekend?
I mean, Bruce is saying that he's a game-time decision. Again, he was limited in practice through the course of the week. I think that generally speaking, this year in particular, when we're talking week one, the soft tissue injuries, everybody, I can tell you this factually, a lot of teams were more cautious in camp with those types of injuries just because the schedule, the rhythm of everything was different in terms of when you had the acclimation period into the padded practices, the amount of work you got in a shorter period of time. I think that everybody is just conscientious of the reality that this is unlike any other year. So if you've got somebody in week one who might be a little bit nicked up, you're probably going to err on the side of holding somebody back. From Mike Evans' perspective, he's dealt with hamstrings. That's what ended his season a year ago. He ended up on injured reserve, but he's played through things in the past. Ultimately, you're going to be listening to your doctors and your athletic trainers to figure out what the best decision is for the course of the season.
That's why I never stretch my hamstrings, by the way.
Smart.
If you never stretch them, you can't pull them.
Correct.
That's right.
You know what I mean? What do you got, Colin?
Tom, the Patriots just gave Stephen Gilmore $5 million for this season. Do you see them doing that with Cam Newton if he performs well, or will other teams do that so they don't lose anybody to free agency?
I can't even focus on the question. What are you wearing?
Tom?
A little disrespectful. I mean, you're wearing suits. I'm wearing this. What's the difference?
This is his game. Hey, this is season. This is season.
Yeah,
This is season. This isn't a joke,
You
Tom.
just said it, Tom.
This is
That's
his
not
job,
cool,
Tom.
man. That's not cool.
The Oakleys, the corner.
They're not Oakleys, dude.
I'm just going. What is it? What are they?
I don't know, but they're not Oakleys. These are Oakleys, all right?
They look
Sweet.
the
Like
exact
a
same.
villain
Jesus.
from a 1980s high school movie.
Loser.
You look like the antagonist that I'm making fun of, Tom.
Loser.
You just got a Doyle.
Oh, dude, you just got bullied by Tom. Oh, sorry.
Answer the question, Tom. Damn it.
Stephen Gilmore, I'll give you a real answer, even though you mispronounced his
Son of
first
a
name.
bitch.
You're wearing a Patriots jersey. So with Gilmore, the Patriots have a habit of being able to move money around when they want to. If there's somebody who has vastly outplayed their contract, Bill Belichick and company are willing to move some money up. That's what they did with Gilmore. It's not an extension. It's them moving money within the deal into this year. It gives him a raise from, I think it's about $10.5 million to $15.5. He can earn more with incentives. They've done that with Tom Brady several times in recent years. Obviously, Brady is gone, and you can now make the argument that Stephen Gilmore is the best player that the Patriots have on their team. They're making sure that they take care of him financially in a year where, if you look at the Patriots salary cap, they've got more than enough maneuverability to be able to put a few more dollars in his pocket.
As soon as we saw the movement in their cap space, everybody assumed, like, okay, Cam's been named the captain. He's been named the starter in meetings, allegedly. They haven't publicly named it, I guess, which I don't know if Bill Belichick ever does. We just assumed that they would move more money to him, and I think that's what you were asking about, right? We assumed that they would make it right because when they signed Cam, they had shit. They didn't have any room at all. And then they get him on that deal for like $1 million up to potentially $7.5 million. And with how his relationship has gone thus far with Bill Belichick, I think the easy assumption was whenever space was made in the salary cap, it's like, okay, they're probably going to give this guy a little bit more money. Do you see that happening, or is it $7.5 million or potentially a midseason extension if he's doing well? Like, what is the mindset with Cam Newton and the Patriots, you think, at this point?
The midseason extension would make more sense in large part because Cam Newton didn't sign that deal until about 2 months ago with the Patriots. Outside of Jason Peters and what took place with him with the Eagles and Dillard's injury and him getting a raise to move to left tackle, there's not a lot of examples of guys who sign one-year deals and then get a raise or get a new deal before they even play games. Absolutely. If we get to midseason and Cam Newton is crushing it for the Patriots, it would make a lot of business sense for them to look at that contract and see whether or not he wants to be extended. But from Cam Newton's perspective, you signed that deal. You didn't sign that because that was the most money you could get. If Cam Newton were concerned about the money, he would have just waited till somebody got hurt and then tried to cash in later. He took a relatively bottom of the barrel type of deal with the Patriots because it was his best opportunity to start. He did that because he thinks that's going to be the best way that he can propel himself now to make a lot more money as he gets out into free agency and beyond. And frankly, if he plays well, the baseline for your next Cam Newton deal is going to be a franchise tag come March.
So let's talk about the presentation of the game a little bit. Last night, Skycam was showing that stadium, a couple times, and it obviously looks exactly how Al Michaels described it. This looks like a stadium where the home team is down 30 or whatever, and it's the fourth quarter, right? And Al Michaels, by the way, talking about that, I was kind of intrigued because it means that the NFL didn't give him any, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about this, or anything like that. And even if you tell Al Michaels that, who knows if Al Michaels even listens at this point. The guy is a legend. But the presentation of the game, last night they had 17,000 fans. So I assume they're running the 70 decibel fan thing. But while you're watching, I kept thinking, I could see 17,000 fans making that much noise. While you're watching, it's like, the sound makes sense. Did they watch the game last night, from your information, and figure out if they're just not going to show the stands at all for some of the places that have no fans? Has that been in the presentation thought? Like, hey, as long as we don't show people that there's nobody here, they won't even know from the sound? Or is it like, hey, we're going to embrace this. This place is empty. This is fake-ass noise that you're hearing right now. Like, how is that whole conversation went? Because last night, every time I sound, I was like, I think 17,000 people could make about that amount of sound. And then all I thought about was, those empty stadiums are going to be weird. It's going to be weird to watch, I think.
Well, that's the thing is you have to remember what you saw last night is the most fans you're going to see in a stadium, at least in September, because the Chiefs were around 22%, so it's like 17,000 people there. There might be one other team who's going to be anywhere close to that. And then some of the other teams are going to have, the Colts, I think, are like 2,500 fans. And the vast majority of stadiums are not going to have anybody.
3.5% of the stadium's capacity here in Indianapolis. I don't know how that's the number they fell on. 3.5%.
My question on that is, how do you make money off that with all the security and everybody else you have to pay just to make it possible for fans?
Yeah.
It's an interesting decision. I know it's something that there were other teams that considered the same thing, just get some people in the doors. And then there's other ones where, franchises like in Green Bay are just like, we got enough to worry about what's on the field. Let's take care of that, and then we'll worry about getting people into the stands. So one thing that Al said, and you're absolutely right, Al Michaels is a legend, that may have been confusing to people was when he was saying that because there's fans here, we're not using the noise. There's two different tracks. There's one on the broadcast, and there is one on the field. Al was referring to the broadcast track, which is this curated thing that NFL Films pulled 4 years of their game footage from different stadiums so that if it's empty, for instance, when I'm at the Vikings game on Sunday, the Vikings score, there'll be no one there, but you will hear a burst of crowd noise and the Skol horn and the Skol Vikings song. That'll all be in the background. That's only on the broadcast. Then there's also the ambient noise that they're playing in the stadium. They were playing that last night, but you won't actually hear that on the broadcast. That is a straight 70 decibels. They call it a murmur. To me, I was at the scrimmage that the Vikings had a couple of weeks ago, and it sounds to me like if you're at a Major League Baseball game and the sound like between pitches, when there's no organ playing, when there's not like any kind of burst because somebody hit it or whatever, there's just like that kind of baseline murmur. That's what it sounds like. My hope is that by Sunday that the pre-recorded sound that they're pumping in is a little longer, because for that scrimmage, the track was only, by my count, about 5 minutes long. So every 5 minutes, you'd hear like the little skip where it would repeat. And you'd have like a brief burst and be like, oh, yeah. And it takes you out of the moment when you all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah, that was that recording that they're just putting on shuffle here.
Because I think when you're watching the game and you hear the sound, and I've said this about other sports as well, there's some sports that it's not bad without sound. Like, for instance, the first couple UFC fights without sound, I enjoyed it. And now I'm kind of sick of it, by the way. I think I've decided that. Well, not really. Like, I think I'm ready for the gladiator-like environment with them. Because I think there is something. But the first couple fights, you could hear, like, the just jaws being separate. Oh, who told you what? What was that? What was that?
What's GM?
Was it?
Well, I'm using my phone for this, so I'm checking my Apple Watch. Just keep talking. I'm not looking at you when you're done.
Well, I just didn't know if there was an update or not. But there's been some sports where you watch it and you can kind of disappear in it with the sound, with the fake noise that they obviously have. And I'll be intrigued to see how CBS, Fox, NBC, how ESPN, how they all do it differently. It's going to be very, very interesting. Let's talk about before the game last night. There was a show of unity by the teams. To have the conversation about social injustice continue. It wasn't during the national anthem. It was after the national anthem. There's allegedly boos coming from the crowd, but it could have been the Chiefs chant by some people. It could have been booing. Who knows what it was? I think just painting an image as an entire fan base is being against unity is a little bit aggressive, and a lot of people have been doing that. But that show of unity, the linking of arms, was that league or was that team? Should we expect that by the entire? What are you hearing about that? Was that Kansas City Chiefs and Texans players making that decision, or was that a conversation more league-wide?
This was player-driven. And, we talked about this yesterday on TV, that there were these ongoing discussions. You had Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson were at the forefront of it. They were working through different scenarios where what they wanted to do is they wanted to make a demonstration jointly about racial injustice, but also show unity. They wanted to show they're all on the same page. So the Texans had decided by the night before the game that they were going to stay in the locker room. My understanding is there were conversations about both teams staying in the locker room so that it would be everybody doing the same thing. We would not reduce a very important conversation to this guy kneeled and this guy didn't, and this team was in the locker room. What does that mean when this team wasn't? Well, in the end, that's exactly what you had before the game, which was Alex Okafor, one of the Chiefs players, kneeled during the national anthem. The rest of his teammates stood. The Texans chose to stay in the locker room, which, from what I was told, was about they were sick of everybody hijacking the actual message that they wanted to demonstrate on behalf of black and brown victims of police brutality, and that they wanted to, what they want is, among other things, to push the Senate to bring the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act of 2020 to the floor for a vote. Everybody always says, well, what do the players want? Texans are like, here's what we want. The Ravens did the same thing a couple of weeks ago where it was, here's our legitimate action items. This is what we're working toward. And so I think some of that got lost a little bit last night because of, in part, the confusion. And then when you're seeing tweets about, like, the Texans are being booed as they leave the field before the national anthem. I've been to hundreds of NFL games. The visiting team always gets booed when they come on and off the field. That is every time. So to your point, how much of it was booing the Texans, how much of it was booing the show of solidarity, it's tough to tell. But this is, the reality of this is there's some people who don't want this conversation anywhere near the game. And meanwhile, the players are absolutely going to make it part of the game. And it's going to be different for every team, every group of players, and it is player-driven.
What did I see? I mean, one of the first commercials, though, was a Biden presidential commercial. Yeah. So if you, are you mad? What part of politics are we keeping out of the game and in the game? If it makes money, is it cool? If it doesn't make money, is it not cool? That's the people that are like, well, I don't want politics involved with sports. And it's like, well, your first commercial is literally a presidential campaign commercial. I mean, that is like
which would happen regardless, by the way. Exactly. Regardless of what was happening on the field, you're going to get those. Next 2 months is going to be political hell for everybody between snaps.
Not only in snaps, on your Twitter, everywhere is political hell. So, I very much understand, hey, let's keep politics out of this because it has a place to play. That's not the world we live in. That is just not real life anymore. It is everywhere, and it is shoved in your face, just like information that you could never hear from anywhere else from our friend Tom Pelissaro. He's about to hop on NFL Daily, or NFL Now, which airs daily at 1 p.m. NFL Network Insider. An incredible suited man and a bully at Boston Connors, Tom Pelissaro.
I want those glasses. Send me the glasses.
Yeah, you wish, pal.
No, yeah, you can't do it. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you, pal.
See you guys.
He's a good guy.
He's a good
I
guy.
like Tom.
He is a good guy.
Kind of mean-spirited.
Mean-spirited, yeah.
I don't think, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Saying an entire fan base is booing unity. That's an aggressive fucking statement.
JJ Watt's 2 people down from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, though. They're standing next to each other. How is there a discrepancy on what they heard?
What? What's that, Diggs?
Nothing.
No.
That's not do that.
Tony.
He's taller.
Who is?
JJ. He's like 6'8".
No. Is he taller than Patrick Mahomes?
I would assume so.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting thing. What he said about people being injured, though, and them being precautious and potentially trying to send up a false flag of who's potentially in or out. That happened yesterday with Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
I thought it was trending very heavily that Brandon Cooks was not playing. There was actually multiple props that I wanted to hit that had Brandon Cooks also having 50 yards receiving or something at the end. I was like, I don't think he's going to play. It seems like he's not going to play by everything we were reading on the internet. He's in. He was a focal point of the offense early. Now you got Kenny Golladay out for the Lions.
Their season's over.
Screwed.
Lions are favored against the Chicago Bears. They are favored. The Lions, that never happened. Kenny Galladay's out. Mike Evans, they have so many weapons on there. Are you going to put him back out there? If hamstring injury ended his last season, would you just put him out there this season with a potential another one? It's I don't think that's a decision you make whenever you got Gronk, Mike Evans, or Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette now, Rojo, Tom Brady, O.J. Howard, Cam Brate. They got all those. It's do we potentially say, hey, Mike, we'll see you next week, pal, because we don't need you hurt? Or do you say, hey, we haven't played against anybody. We need to see if he got it right. There's so many different ways to look at it. And I would assume both ways are good. It's just if somebody gets hurt and they're gone for the rest of the season, you as a coach are going to look like a big fat stooge.
Yes. I mean, for Golladay, he had 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns last year, and Matt Stafford missed half the season. That might be the biggest loss at wide receiver I've ever seen.
Calm down. All right,
he was Drew Blah's favorite target, right?
Yeah, sure.
He's Stafford's favorite target too, but let's calm down. All right, Matt Patricia came from New England. We just talked about it the other day. Tom Brady was questionable for about every single game last season. They're doing that with Golladay this week.
Not week 1.
I don't know. The report comes out
yeah.
here on Friday. The report comes out on a Friday that he's like questionable. That means probably yesterday. What was happening? He's probably against
Tom doesn't have to run a 4-3 down the sideline.
That's right.
Catch the ball.
Yeah, Tom Brady. Tom Brady actually
Can't catch.
Hey, let's be honest. Even if he doesn't play, the Bears are starting Mitch Trubisky. We're going to be just okay.
Yeah, Ryan Pace has got to be the most interesting guy of all time. He watched that, by the way, great tweet by you last night, Diggs. Whenever Deshaun Watson sat next to Patrick Mahomes and you put the Chicago Bears logo in between them while they're smiling at each other, those two have now accounted for, what, $633 million in contracts or whatever extensions.
130 more than we had to pay, though. So.
Yeah. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay a guy.
Save money.
You're
Save
paying
a
a
lot
guy
of
like
money
$20 million or whatever to be a backup now at this point. But that guy,
Financially better.
he's got to be on his way out, right? I mean, I would assume if they don't
You would
Pace?
think.
Pace, Nagy, that's going to start from the bottom.
Playoffs or they're done.
It has to be.
Yeah.
This is just like Baker Mayfield, who has more commercials than last year, by the way. He had such a good – and by the way, we saw Patrick Mahomes start with the cornhole thing last night with State Farm. Completely moved Aaron Rodgers out of the thing, by the way.
There's a couple gifts of them. They went down to California. They got together. They filmed a lot of stuff together. No one's pushing Rodgers out anywhere.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
The Packers are.
Aaron, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But Patrick Mahomes, obviously face of the league at this point. Baker Mayfield and Saquon Barkley now are on a Hulu Live Sports, and we saw his progressive clean up the stadium thing, put the rain covers on the chair commercial last night. I always enjoy just watching the game. People watch the Super Bowl for the Super Bowl commercials. I watch that like every game. I'm like, who are these companies deciding to pay? Like, who is the NFL saying you can pick this person to be the face of the NFL, basically? Because those are all NFL sponsors. So the NFL and the NFL sponsors, I'd assume they have meetings and they pitch like, hey, we want to do a commercial with this person. And the NFL, I'd assume, has to say okay to that. I'm probably pretty sure.
Yeah.
So whenever you see those players in there with the NFL sponsor, it's like, okay, here's who the NFL is like, yeah, here's our faces. Baker Mayfield, he's got a big-ass year ahead of him. He's potentially not in the NFL anymore if he has a bad year now.
Josh Rosen.
Which, by the way, I think he'll just pick up an acting career.
Yeah,
I think
he
just
probably
pick up an
could.
acting
You
career.
think?
Yeah, he's good. He is good in those commercials. Makes me chuckle. And he looks like he's in a lot better shape. Found a jawline this year. Good for him. Good for the Browns. But if he stinks this year, he's gone. For sure.
He's got to land the loss with all the other Browns quarterbacks.
Oh, geez, that long-ass jersey with all their names on it.
Couch.
Cleveland does not deserve
Brady
it.
Quinn's on that list.
This weekend, there's some big games. Bears, Lions, Colts, Jaguars, Dolphins, Patriots, Browns, Ravens, Packers, Vikings, Bucks, Saints, Cowboys, Rams, just to name a few of them. Steelers, Giants, Titans, Raiders.
Titans, Broncos.
Titans, Broncos, Monday.
Raiders, Panthers.
Raiders, Panthers. Game doesn't matter.
Las Vegas, first one.
Vegas goes to Carolina.
Yeah, it's not in Vegas, but it's the first time representing the city of Las Vegas. By the way, shout out to Las Vegas getting their own team now here this year. But we will predict all of those games this weekend. Lions being -3, that's probably going to change, I would assume, after the Galladay stuff comes out. Jaguars +7.5, will that be enough? Patriots -6.5 against the Miami Dolphins. Patriots, by Tom Curran's standards, have the worst roster they've had in a long, long time. Dolphins at Patriots -6.5. Connor, is there any sweating for you, or are you hammering that as hard as you possibly can?
I'm going to hammer that as hard as I possibly can.
We have a Canadian Dolphins fan in the office now who was originally a caller from SiriusXM. Now he's a part of our team on a daily basis. He's a diehard Dolphins fan. His exact quote this morning was, I would sacrifice my left testicle to win this weekend's game against the Patriots. This is a week 1 game against the New England Patriots who don't really play well early, and it's a whole new New England Patriot team. And he said, I will sacrifice a nut for us to get a win against the Patriots. That is one of the most aggressive things I've ever heard. It makes me question whether or not the Miami Dolphins are ever going to win. If that's how your fan base is thinking.
It gives you a look inside the AFC East.
Gumpy, do you think you're a representative of all Dolphins fans, like just begging for a week 1 win in New England, that you would actually sacrifice a testicle a la Lance Armstrong just to get a win 1 more point than the Patriots this weekend?
That just shows how diehard us Fins fans are. We're on the rise. We're on the rise.
Well, if you're on the rise, then don't give up a nut.
Don't care. Beat the Pats. I'll give it up. I don't care.
They're going to have to play again.
That's how bad I want it.
What if week 15 we have a playoff potential? What if there's a playoff potential game? You only got, one nut left? What are you going to give? A spleen? Kidney? What are you going to go
Finger?
next? Oh, you're just finger to get in the playoffs? Oh, my. With the Kansas City Chiefs in that AFC still?
Sweet Jesus.
Oh, now you're 1 nut 9-fingered guy with a good beard from Canada who cheers on the Dolphins, who just gave up everything and gets stomped by the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs.
What's next?
We're in the dance. You just got to get in the dance.
Oh, my God. That makes me feel as if the Patriots are going to win by maybe 65 points.
Yeah, and it shows you the stranglehold that they've had on the AFC East. I mean, these other guys, or the other teams rather, they're like Big Ben in 2012.
I will say this: the Patriots start slow, but this is a brand new offense. They're going to want to put their best foot forward. Obviously, everybody wants to. That's very stupid for me to even say that. But with that back end that they have on defense, now they lose Kyle Van Noy, who's now on the other side, who knows everything about that defense.
Yeah,
you have B-Flow down there, former defense coordinator of that defense. You got a lot of information about the New England Patriots in Miami. Miami last year was supposed to stink. Guess who didn't let it happen? B-Flow, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Who's starting against the Patriots this weekend for the Dolphins? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Thank you.
You know why Ryan Fitzpatrick is the Patriot killer? Because he's beat the Patriots with every single team in the division. Him and Eli Manning are known as the Patriot killers. Now we got a guy sacrificing a nut potentially. Maybe the 6.5 I don't feel so good about with the Patriots.
So 56% of the people in America are betting the Patriots, but only 24% of the money in America is coming in on the Patriots. So
what does that mean?
It means there's some sharp action on the Fins this weekend.
It's Fitz magic. He's about to throw for 5 touchdowns this weekend.
5 tuds.
I think he might.
Fins just beat us too last time we played last year, end of the season. But Cam Newton circling the Fins on the calendar. It's one of the teams that could have had him.
He said they could have signed.
Yes.
By the way, 86 days he was unemployed. He ended up in New England.
Can't forget about the chip on his shoulder.
I know. And that's how I talk about everything.
Yes.
Chip on the shoulder, how they feel, what's the mindset.
Player.
Cam Newton's mindset is to take over. But if Cam Newton can't throw the ball to anybody, because they're not fast, we need you to be faster, more explosive, get open better. But his offense, by the way Cam Newton will be able to, now I don't know if he's going to be playing the same exact way he was playing years ago whenever he was mid-20s, but he's still young enough, fit enough, and healthy enough to be a factor in the run game, run people over, because he's bigger than J.J. Watt and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he is a big-ass dude. And if Josh McDaniels is just working the Lamar Jackson offense that beat him last year, and he's like, here, we can add this in here, plus Cam can do this. I mean, it's going to be Dolphins don't know what to prepare for.
No, and
nobody knows what to prepare for.
He wasn't throwing to anyone that great in Carolina either. It's not like he had studs over there.
Now I'm back on the Patriots minus 6.5. Like that feels like that one's a lock. That's easy.
Gonna find out.
Second hour, we will break down all those games, give you the locks, the unlocks, the don't do this, and the throw this there. I'm on a hot streak. 8-9 last night. Made a lot of money from FanDuel. We're gonna try to bankrupt them this year.
Hell yeah.
We continue that mission in the second hour on this Feel Good Friday. Dan Orlovsky joins us in about 30 minutes. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, September 11th, 2020. Well, hello, sensual piano keys. You sound incredibly inspirational and motivational. Big announcement coming from our company. You know, throughout my entire life, I've made decisions that people have said, ooh, that is stupid. You've read about them. You heard about them. When I was in high school, I went to an underground poker game, won $1,400, flew myself down to Miami, won a kicking contest, and got a scholarship to West Virginia the next day. I turned my back on soccer that day. Everybody said, you're an idiot. Why are you doing that? You have more schools looking at you for soccer than you do for football. What are you thinking? Fast forward 8 years with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was on top of the world, top of the mountain. How's the view? Not too shabby. And when I was at the top of my game, I decided, you know what? I'm going to pursue some other stuff. My friends and I are going to go to work on the internet. We're going to try to chase fulfillment as opposed to just a paycheck. And there were some interesting responses from people of power in the sporting world.
Make them tear the uniform off of you. Sure. Look, somebody needs to stage an intervention. People who know this guy, get to him now. Make him put his helmet back on and get to camp.
Oh, no, there's no intervention, Wilbon. No, no, no. Here we are 3 years after that date, and it's a celebration, bitches. Cut the music. Let's hand out some bags to the boys. For the boys. For the boys. By the way, that's for you, brother.
Oh my God.
Are you home? All right, come out the front door.
What's up, dude?
this? What's this?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck? Fuck you. Oh, yeah. That is the bag of money. FanDuel deal went through. There's $50,000 in there for you. Here's a backpack with $50,000 in it. Oh, $50,000 in there. Oh, my God. Yes, there's $50,000 in there. Yes, there's $50,000 in there. Are you fucking serious? Let's go.
You brought it back?
Oh, man.
Let's go, dude.
Let's go. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yo, this is...
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dude. We did it. Couldn't have done it without you. Oh, thank you.
Dude, it's a fuck ton of money. You guys.
When I asked Dan Patrick for some advice, he told me always take care of the boys.
Well, and you should know those people that are there with you, that their value cannot be overstated and should not be overstated.
So, Mike Wilbon, they didn't hold my jersey on me. They didn't hold my helmet on me. We didn't have an intervention. What we have is a celebration. Because when you bet on yourself, sometimes you hit for big. And for us, the only place we'll bet for the next couple years in an exclusive deal, FanDuel backed the Brinks truck up to our office, and we have never been more thankful, more excited, and more together as we promote the greatest sports book on planet Earth.
McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Well, hello. Beat. Banger. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Hour 2 kicking off right now. Dan Orlovsky will be joining us in about 32 minutes.
Danny.
He's supposed to join us at 1:25. He asked if he could bump to 135 because he has to get a workout in.
Oh, Dan.
Always working.
I don't know if you saw Dan Orlovsky on NFL Live recently. He is a toothpick. I texted him last night to tell him, like, hey, you're looking good. You're looking, I think I said fit or whatever. And he said, dude, I'm shredded right now, is what he said.
Dan.
So Dan is now currently in the middle of a workout. We will ask him about him being shredded. Nice. He does look incredibly fit on NFL Live.
Shredded, I don't know.
I am going the opposite direction. I'm still on a Stairmaster.
Football season.
I'm still on a Stairmaster, but I don't know how many floors I need to keep up with my mouth with what I'm eating. I'm just continuing to go.
Tough.
We have some Oreo Pop-Tarts in the office. It's been very nice. It has been a celebration after last night, the NFL kicking off. Now we get into a weekend of college football. Tomorrow night, Clemson, Wake Forest. I believe Clemson is minus 33.5 or something like that.
Not enough.
That is not enough, I don't think. Wake Forest is a program that revolves around growing their players coming in, being they use a lot of seniors and fifth-year seniors. You come in, you grow. Wake Forest, if I'm remembering correctly from last year, it is the smallest campus of the Power 5 conferences. Smallest amount of students, smallest campus. It's like this really awesome, nice little retreat in the woods, basically, in Carolina, North Carolina down there. Small school in Coach, what's that?
7,500 students.
Which is the smallest of all the Power 5 conferences. But they do a lot of, development, freshman, you're going to redshirt. Sophomore, you're going to work through. You're going to do this whole thing. So they have a lot of older students, I think, that play on their football team. Coach is kind of like, let's take our time. Let's build this thing the right way. So maybe they'll be able to handle the adversity better than a lot of other schools because they're kind of an older group and a more mature crew. But Trevor Lawrence has been leading the charge to play football. I assume that's because Trevor Lawrence is not happy about what happened last year in that national championship. The dude has never lost. Etienne Jr. has come back in the backfield now, and they have no Ohio State, anybody from the Big Ten or Pac-12 to worry about this year. Joey Burrow's gone. The LSU team's brand new. I mean, Trevor Lawrence and that squad is on a run to get another natty before he goes and be the number one pick. I mean, this is a wild time. I would hammer Clemson minus 33.5 tomorrow night, just strictly off of what I saw BYU do to Navy and what we think we know Clemson's going to try to do. And it's not like Dabo is going to take out Trevor Lawrence in like the first quarter or second quarter. He's got to win another Heisman, by the way. So there is going to be stats in abundance, I believe, tomorrow night. Love the people from Wake Forest. Love the coach down there. Love the staff down there. But you're just playing against a couple once-in-a-generation-like players. That's going to be a problem. And then, obviously, on Sunday, we got an entire day. Yeah! Let's hit the sidebar, please, because we are a sports talk show. Let's get to it. Biggest games of the weekend in the NFL. We talked about it as we got into ended hour one there. Bears at Lions this weekend, -3. Is it that big of a game to everybody on earth? No. But in this particular office, we have a diehard Bears fan and a diehard Lions fan. So we have to talk about this. Bears-Lions, NFC North rivals for a long, long time. The Lions have been completely irrelevant for a long, long time. Their fan base has been loyal. Their fan base has said, we'll stick with you through all of the turbulence, all the firing of coaches, all of the players retiring early, all of the failures, all of the leads in the fourth quarter to inevitable disappointment at the end of the game, heartbreaking cardiac losses week in and week out. The Lions fan said, we'll stick with you. Now, Matt Patricia goes into his third year in Detroit.
Yes.
Whenever he got there, he said he has to get his guys in there, basically. A lot of veterans were already on the Lions. They've been They get moved out. They say that he lost the locker room. The Detroit Lions now, with Matty Stafford coming back after a broken frickin' back and a team that seems to be better than they've ever had, even though they traded their best corner away, maybe one of the best, maybe top 3 corner in the league away for a bag of balls. Everybody we've talked to from the Lions organization is very confident, very comfortable, and excited for this season. And the people in the desert said, we agree. Lions are favored by 3 against the Chicago Bears. It is 2020. Just a couple years ago, a blocked field goal. A blocked field goal of Cody Parkey that resulted in bang, boom, a loss in the playoffs. Now they are at a point, opening week, They have two quarterbacks. One's getting paid a lot more than the other. The one that isn't getting paid and was a laughing stock of the NFL is starting over the guy who's been a Super Bowl champion. And now the Lions are favored against the Chicago Bears in opening week. Evan Fox has to feel damn good about that.
Pat, week 1 as a Lions fan is so important because as a Patriots fan, if they come out flat, you know they're going to figure it out. But if the Lions week 1 are so important because it's either – is this the same old Lions that I see every single year? Or if they come out and play good, I have more hope than I ever had in my life.
And the very interesting thing about the Lions is normally very good in preseason. So the fans get their chance to get their like confidence up. They're like, oh, we're undefeated in the preseason.
Yep.
And then legitimately the only team in the history of the NFL to go undefeated in preseason and then completely defeated during the season.
Wild.
The Detroit Lions.
That same season, John Kitna was our starting quarterback. He predicted us to go 10-6 and win a playoff game.
And what is your prediction every single year?
We are going to go 10-6 and win a playoff game. This is actually the year.
Just kidding himself.
Isn't it interesting, though, that Detroit, normally the preseason is what gets them overhyped on how their team's going to do.
Yeah.
This year, it's just all the chatter. Like this year, it's a chatter. And now we got sports books buying in that they're the favorites. And Zito, you very quickly came to Mitch Trubisky's defense last year.
Oh, yeah.
On numerous occasions. It's my quarterback. It's my quarterback. It's my quarterback.
Number one.
After he was missing people by 14, 15 yards, after he looked like he shouldn't have been in an NFL field, after 1 year before that, he was like number 3 QBR out of the entire league. Something happened. Nobody knows.
Baby.
He fell from the top of the I suck at football tree. It just during the offseason and hit every single limb on the way down, hit the ground, had a stoic look in his eye. Matt Nagy said, this guy stinks. We're not going to play the same football. We're going to change our offense completely. The one that he was successful. Everything seems to be a clusterfuck. But now you guys are underdogs against the Lions in week 1. Same starter you had last year. The only real difference is what? Ted Ginn's there now?
Yeah. Better in the locker room.
Defense will be good. But I feel like this is a bad time to be a Chicago Bears fan if you're looking at this.
Yeah, it doesn't help that Robert Quinn's out too. But other than that, though, offense is showing up. David Montgomery's back. That's also good.
David Montgomery is good.
Yeah,
That's
he's
true.
very
true.
Oh, yeah.
Can Mitchell Trubisky, out of all the reports that you've heard out of Chicago Bears training camp, can he throw a completion?
Yes, so I've actually been watching a lot of film. And sometimes it is a little ducky, but it gets right to him every time.
It doesn't matter. Peyton Manning said I throw a lot of wobbly touchdowns.
Amen to that.
It doesn't matter how it gets
Touchdown
there,
God.
as long as it gets there. That's why, you go play catch with your friends who they compliment themselves on throwing a perfect spiral or whatever. It's like, okay, the size of your hands is probably better than the size of my hands with this particular ball, but let's go ahead and see who throws some more completions, pal.
There you go.
It doesn't matter how beautiful it is when that son bitch is flying over somebody's head or at the ground. Go ahead and get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter what it looks like. The thing that it looks like, though, for the Bears is that they have no fucking idea what they're doing on it.
No clue.
Well, that's the best thing, though, right?
Little info.
Maybe, yeah.
Everyone
For us.
No. Everyone,
for us.
everybody thinks this, but then game 1, it all was downhill.
I'm so nervous.
Why?
I'm actually because
Week 1,
this is primetime Lions season from the draft until now. So I've had 5 months to convince myself that the Lions actually could do it this year, and now we're here. Sunday's the day.
And you're favored too, so now you're getting even more reassurance.
People are talking about us. People never talk about the Detroit Lions.
I think it's potentially because our show has now become like
that would be awesome.
I don't know. I don't know if it's because we're the only people that talk about. Like, I'm not sure there's anybody spending 4 minutes, 5 minutes we spend on the Lions Bears right now.
No.
But we have great fans in Detroit, great fans in Chicago. And it just kind of sucks for both of them because right now it feels like Chicago's in a place where it's a wasteland of an organization. They don't know what they're doing. They have a hell of a defense. They seem to have all the pieces, but will they be able to figure it out? Unlike last year. And then Detroit, it's like that entire city.
I mean,
they don't have internet.
I hope.
They don't have internet up there. There's not some water.
Clean
someplace.
water.
No clean water.
They have no sports teams that are worth a single fuck. If the Lions were able to go on a run here, I would legitimately.
Yeah.
And I think everybody would be, even the people in Chicago. I think they would legitimately be happy for the humans in Detroit. Now, granted, Ty Schmidt here is tapping his toes because this is the Green Bay Packers division. Who gives a damn about the people of Detroit? Is that what you just said?
No.
Oh.
I've told Foxy I wouldn't mind seeing the Lions play well and maybe make the playoffs. They're not going to win the division. I mean, that's just not going to happen. Like, I appreciate that Foxy feels like this every year. They're not going to win the division.
Could you think of oh man, I got to stop doing it. Could you imagine like a week 16, week 17, Lions have a game that's like, hey, this is to win the division.
Versus the Packers?
Oh.
I dream about it every year, Pat. I legitimately dream about it every year.
It's not going to happen.
Some info on the line. It started Lions -1, went up to Lions -3, that key number -3, and then you've had some action on the Bears. Now it's down to 2.5.
Galladay.
Lions
So
are going to be
that's because Galladay. That's
Good.
because Galladay on Friday popping up as questionable with a potential hamstring as your biggest weapon, your biggest threat. Now, Matty Stafford will be able to figure it out. That dude is an unbelievable quarterback.
Yes, he is.
Well, he spent his entire career in Detroit wondering what if we could win some games instead of losing all the time.
Well, and that's why we got to have a good season, because if we don't, Patricia's gone, and I think potentially Stafford is going to say,
for the Bears, too.
see you later.
I think Patricia knows that, too.
Yes.
We talked to him down at the Super Bowl. And
Forgot his phone and
his wallet.
Everything,
The Ford's
maybe the season too.
And I asked him, I was like, a lot of chatter about you potentially getting fired after last year. And Foxy in Detroit was actually happy that he didn't get fired because Jim Caldwell was actually turning that thing around, and they weren't pleased with how he was doing. Get him out of here.
We went 9-7 when they fired him.
Yeah, not good enough. Hey, not here in Detroit.
Seen it since.
Hey, Jim Caldwell, you don't do that here in Detroit. They get rid of him. And then if Patricia was building something for real, which it feels like he potentially is, and then you just fire him after a bad year, it's like, okay, good. We're starting right back at the bottom. But I do believe if this year doesn't work out for him, there's a chance he's gone. There was just too much smoke there whenever people were talking about it last year for that not to be true. And new owner.
That's right.
New owner wants to kind of make her own name
for the Bears, too. Nick Foles can't start. He has to start as a backup to activate his mojo. Mitch goes down.
Yeah.
Foles comes in. It's Big Dick Nick.
Yeah, Big Richard Nick Foles will definitely come out and play some real football for you guys at some point when Mitchell Trubisky throws, I don't know, 2 over the house.
Yeah, probably into the stands.
Well, because at what point during the season does it just become last year where the defense is like, well, fuck it, why are we breaking our backs when we can't score points?
No.
That was incredible to watch because that defense is like a very, very good defense. And they're like, well, the Chicago Bears defense isn't playing as good. And that's because the Chicago Bears get a stop, then they go on the sideline, and they watch their offense go 3 and out. These motherfuckers. Then they go back out, get a stop, and then it's the same thing. It's like, another turnover? No, what do we
pick off a pass, then Mitch throws a pick.
Which, by the way, can't do that. Okay? Love of the game. Play hard every single snap.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Don't be a human.
It's a privilege.
Do these phones work?
Mitch.
All right, let's do it. The phones haven't worked for the first hour and 15 minutes. And
You can also answer them blindly if you want.
And I know there's some potential Mad Dog Radio fans that are upset that we haven't gone to as much callers. I think we've averaged like 10 calls a day.
Doing a lot of them.
How many calls are we supposed to do?
That's enough.
That's what I think so too. I'm tired of these. I'm not. It's Feel Good Friday.
Yeah, Feel Good Friday.
Feel Good Friday.
Monday, though.
Let's go to James over there in California, over there on the left coast. What do you want to talk about?
Hey, Pat. Happy Feel Good Friday.
Hey,
Feel Good Friday, boys.
What's up, Jimmy?
Hey, Jim, you too, pal. All right,
Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy.
My question, do the Chiefs have too many weapons?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
I thought about that at halftime when Tyreek Hill didn't have the ball yet. How long would Tyreek Hill be okay with just being a distraction? I thought about that last night while watching the game. How long is Tyreek Hill going to be like, okay, yeah. Because I even thought last night I went one step deeper. I was like, there has to be some sort of agreement between Tyreek Hill's agent and the Kansas City Chiefs. They're like, hey, I will be a distraction for you for the next couple of years if you're just not going to throw me the ball. But when my contract is up, I would like you to remember that you guys made me a distraction and it to reveal that way, because it was very obvious that Tyreek Hill was a distraction yesterday in that first half. He was opening up for Sammy Watkins. He was opening up for Kelsey. He was opening up for Robinson on that drop. And at halftime, I was like, is Tyreek Hill just like, yeah, I'm cool with you just using how good I have been just to distract everybody so we can take advantage of everybody that we have? But then there was, you could see an asserted effort to get the ball to Tyreek Hill in the second half. And I had that thought, though. I was like, this is a guy who is electrifying. This is a game changer. I assume he's a focal point of the defense. So if you're going to use him just to distract the defense and open up everybody else, awesome. Absolutely awesome. But that's expecting a lot out of a guy who makes game-changing plays on a regular basis. Just to be like, hey, listen, this is the deal. You're going to be covered by 2 people every single play. We're going to use you to run people off. We'll open up if we win, we're going to win. So you're going to help out in that fashion. But your numbers aren't going to be what they normally are. The moments aren't going to be what they normally are. Look for Tyreek Hill, by the way, if this is going to continue to happen, to potentially go back to punt return, which, by the way, is a game changer. McCole Hardman, also very good. But I thought about what Jimmy O talked about there. It was like, if Tyreek Hill isn't getting the ball and some of these guys aren't getting the ball, if you're winning, I guess it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all if you're winning. But if they stumble at all, which it feels like they're uncompetable, there will be some questions. That's just natural, by the way, for professional athletes who are really good at what they do. If they don't get a chance to showcase that or get their numbers, which inevitably helps them business-wise, at some point somebody's saying, hey, can I get the fucking ball every once in a while? And I would assume that they're going to have to balance that. But that's a good point there by Jim. They have so many weapons. And Sammy Watkins looks like he's better than he ever was, even when he was with the Bills. He looks like he's better than he was with the Bills.
And you just touched on it, and it's completely speculative. But like in your experience, since you kind of had it with the Colts, like do these guys care about like postseason accolades and stuff like that? I mean, because that's like tied in with catching. Or I mean, if you're
Super
winning
Bowl.
though, ultimately that's all that matters.
Super Bowl is the only thing that people really care about. Now, there's always the thought by the media that All-Pro matters. And you know why? Because the media is the one that selects the All-Pro. So the media always hypes up All-Pro as the most important thing. Like, hey, this is the prestigious award. It's because the media is selecting it. Now, for instance, in my particular position, the media knows nothing about it. So I was All-Pro one year. There was probably a couple other years I should have been it. There was years other guys should have been it, but the media don't really know what they're talking about whenever it comes to punting. No offense to them. That's not their fault at all. It's just kind of what they were brought up in. So all those awards are awesome. And it's nice. Like, for instance, if you're an All-Pro once, you're an All-Pro for the rest of your life. If you're a Pro Bowler once, you can be a Pro Bowler forever. But if you ask any All-Pro or Pro Bowler who hasn't won a Super Bowl what they would rather do, I think Super Bowl champion is all anybody would want to be. But the accolades do mean something, especially whenever you're trying to, get in the hall or something like that. Like, for instance, Tyreek Hill. If for the next 2 years he is just a distraction piece, opening up for everybody else.
And guys like Kelsey are all pro and Pro Bowlers.
And cooking and eating and all this stuff.
And contract incentives.
And let's say Travis Kelsey becomes a distraction somehow in the offense. He becomes the distractor, which, by the way, has to happen. It happens on every offense. That's why there's a lot of disguising. And if a defense is going to eat somebody and you got 6 other guys that could potentially get open, I mean, that's a rule that you have to have. If he doesn't do anything for the next couple of years, in the Hall of Fame thing, they go, in the final 3 years of his career, he was a distraction that set up the most powerful offense. Like, that is not something. Right. So there is always a lot of ego that goes into it, which is why players tend to think about themselves every once in a while because they have to, because it's a business. But if they got Tyreek Hill to buy into just being a distraction, I mean, that's going to work very well for them.
I assume if you're Andy Reid, though, and Bieniemy, you could talk to Tyreek Hill and be like, that's just how the Texans felt. They felt that you were the guy they had to stop. There's going to be some defenses who think Kelsey's the guy that needs to be stopped. There's going to be some defenses that think the run needs to be stopped.
I don't think so. I think everybody's going to be thinking about Tyreek Hill.
Well, if you're a great wide receiver, a lot of them have done it against double teams their entire career. So,
yeah, but if you're just literally running routes that are specifically drawn for you to just drag people out, not to get open, you know what I mean? Like that, which exactly what that route was that set up Robinson was just, all right, Tyreek, this is what we're going to have you do. You just run a post here and just get right in the front of that safety. And then, by the way, just blow right by him.
Keep going.
By the way, Patrick Mahomes sits on that ball for a little bit longer. I don't know if he could. I forget if somebody was in his face.
Oh, yeah.
I assume Tyreek's open, by the way.
Touchdown.
Tyreek, that's a touchdown to Tyreek, too, because there's nobody that can catch him. But in the third quarter, coming out of half, I think it was very much a, hey, we got to get the rock to our guy. He's worked his ass off in the first half for us. Now let's go ahead and reward him a little bit. Will they be able to do that every game? Will it matter? I think Andy Reid has a good relationship with all his players. So, and by the way, the phones do work, so I'm pretty happy about that. Let's go to Vinny in Brooklyn.
Vinny!
Hey, Paisan! Hey, Paisan! Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?
Pat, you're doing a hell of a job, Pat. Hell of a job.
Hey, thank you, Vinny. You too. I don't know what you do, but I know you do it good, huh?
Yeah, sometimes. Now, how about the Giants this year? They have a very winnable 2 games, first 2 games. After that, it's, 2-14. That's what it's looking like. They could beat the the Washington, whatever the hell you call them now. I can't say the name anymore.
Football team.
Whatever.
Football team. Vinny, I like Vinny a lot. Anytime an Italian calls in here, big fan of it. For those that don't know, I grew up in Pittsburgh. Too many Italians.
Oh, yeah.
Well, too many.
Way too many.
Too many. There's a DiGilio, there's a Moraldo back here that I grew up with, Pronio, Impavito, Damasala.
Hey, made you who you are. Okay.
I mean, there's a Master
Smells like
Giacomo.
salami in
I mean,
here.
there was a lot of Italians in my life. And then when you come to Indiana, there is no Italian. So you really.
Best.
You know.
Listen, when there's no Italians around, you turn out like this fucking
Well, that's
guy,
what I'm
so.
saying. I disagree with what you're saying.
Vinny better watch his mouth talking about being 2 winnable games, opening up against the Steelers. I don't know what he's talking
I didn't even hear that. I didn't know he was taking shots at the other Italians.
I mean, they're fucking 6-point dogs at home. They stink. They don't have a chance.
Big Dan Jones.
Danny Dimes had a hell of a year last year. Okay, Danny Dimes retired Eli Manning.
It's true.
So rude to say.
It's true.
But didn't Eli pump fake on his retirement? No, he did it full retirement. He cried. He did the whole thing.
Yep.
He came on Twitter for Frank's Red Hot.
Frank's Red Hot.
Got Eli Manning out of bed on Twitter for Peyton's golf thing. But Joe Judge, he's doing the same thing that Matt Patricia had to do, by the way, which is establish his culture. There are reports now that Joe Judge, a couple weeks ago, he was making people run laps, which happens at the Patriots, by the way. That's very much a Patriots
Cam
thing.
did it.
I've seen, Cam had to do it. I assume coaches had to do it as well. I've seen it in practice. It only lasts like a day or two, whatever. At the Colts, when somebody tried to institute it, it only worked like once or twice. There are other places that do the lap run, even since like high school and everything like that. But whenever you talk about Joe Judge going in there, he's doing fumble drills with the team. He's got them running laps. He restarted practice, I guess, yesterday, went all the fucking way back. Hey, I don't even think we stretch good today. I don't even think we stretch. We're here. I don't know how many periods they were into practice. So practice is always periods, okay? Big horn comes down. There's normally a clock that counts down a period. It's like, okay, first period, what's going on? Well, we got special teams. We got punt. Know where you're supposed to be. Second period, what do we have? Oh, we have individual. Third period, we have this. So practice is always scheduled by periods. At West Virginia, the only time I've ever done a restart is at West Virginia with Rich Rodriguez, and it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. Field goal period's first period, and we go through this whole practice. He was mic'd up for ESPN, so he was mic'd up for one of our Thursday night games, and they're following him around, And Rich Rod was a hard coach. Okay, he was a very, very, very tough coach.
Stern.
He was a stern coach. Sometimes people would say stern, not fair, but he was a stern coach. And for the team that we had, with the locker room we had, I mean, I feel like it worked out best for us. We won a lot of games. I mean, but he was a hard ass of a coach. And he was really my first baptism into football coaching, by the way, because I didn't go to practice in high school. I would only show up on games. So I just assumed like, oh, this is how everybody does it. You hear stories about like Bear Bryant, everything like that. And then I realized that that's not normal. Okay, the way I've noticed that. But at the time, I think our team probably needed that. We succeeded. So I guess that's all anybody judges about. But he was mic'd up. And when he was mic'd up, it was a completely different practice, right? It was okay, let's kick the ball now, Pat. All right, here you go. Oh, good ball, Pat, good ball. Normally it would be like, his only critique for me was always keep your fucking head down. Like it was golf or whatever, right? So, but I would only lift my head when I knew I didn't hit the ball well. So it was like, yeah, I know what you're saying, that you think it's because my head comes up, but I'm lifting my head because I felt that I hit it bad. I think there's a little bit more into it. And I never got into that conversation, but every time he said it, I always thought that. But he was always like, and then we got the individual period, and Pat was like throwing. He was like, okay, Pat, and Pat White even like noticed. He was like, oh, is that? Oh, okay, yeah, here we go. Like we were having a good time with it. So we get like 6-7 periods in, I think. And it was maybe like a 15-period practice or whatever. And as soon as they got out of the stadium, as soon as the mic'd up crew got out of the stadium, the shoe, oh my God, horn, burr, burr. You thought that was how we were going to practice today? Start that thing over. McAfee, you're kicking it. We went all the way back to the beginning. And it was like a hilarious response from us, right? Hilarious. It was like, oh, like it was the first time we ever like kind of like, had a moment there with Rich. And I think Rich was playing it up even more because he understood the situation we were all in. But it wasn't until they got back to period like 8 or 9 where not me, because I didn't have to do shit, but I was watching my friends that were just like full on, like, this is a terrible day. It was supposed to be a 15-period practice. We're at a 22-period practice at this point. It is very tiring. So I would like to know at what point he decided to go back to the beginning. At what point was he fed up with it? When did he decide to go back? Because this is Thursday. right? So this is Thursday, and they got a game on Sunday. And he's like, go back to the beginning. If they were mid-practice and he decided to go all the way back, re-stretch, okay, yeah, we're going to touch our toes again. Because you know what I saw whenever you guys are touching your toes? Not a goddamn one of you touch your fucking toes. We are going back to the stretch. I love it. That's him, by the way, trying to set that culture, I think. And this is what a lot of Patriots coaches have done. A lot of Patriots coaches have gone and they've tried to reestablish the Patriots culture at other places. But the difficult thing for Joe Judge, whenever you're setting up the Patriots culture, is he doesn't have the resume of the Patriots. So you got a lot of players that potentially look at him and go, hey, Joe, that's you, Bill Belichick. Is that what Bill Belichick said to do? Yeah. Okay, well, Bill Belichick won 6 Super Bowls.
Yes.
So if Bill Belichick's saying that, that's cool, we'll do that. But you, what if, and there's always a little bit of resistance. That's why you have to get your locker room in there. That's what Matt Patricia had to do. Mangini, I heard he was running Oklahoma drills at like 6 a.m., I guess. I heard terrible stories there. But it's always like, do they have enough patience? Does the organization have enough patience to have the coach come in, set a culture, stick with it, know that there's potentially going to be some people that aren't happy with it? Oh, he's lost the locker room. Will they have enough patience in New York with that media to let him rebuild a culture that he wants to build it? Maybe. And it seems like if you look at him going to get that fumble, when he went and got on that fumble, the players seem to have been bought in.
Love it. Yeah.
But also, you're going to buy in during a training camp because you're trying to make the fucking team. So how it worked during the season, if they lose a couple games and they're doing stuff like that, that'll be the real tell. And that'll be whenever things start leaking out, like, oh, he's lost the locker room. Or people don't want to do that. It's if there's any struggles. And as long as he's got Danny Dimes, and as long as he's got Saquon Barkley on his side, that is all that matters. Matt Patricia was lucky that Matt Stafford was like, he bought in almost. Matt Stafford bought in. He's still there. What were you going to say?
Saquon bought in. So Joe stopped the practice about 20 minutes into it. Wasn't happy with what he saw with just the stretching and the individual drills. Wanted to stop to it. Saquon said as a captain, it almost kind of made him feel invigorated that they were kind of being called out and held accountable.
By the way, 20 minutes isn't that much. That's like 3 periods in almost.
Tennis balls aren't on the hands yet.
Yeah. Take tennis balls on the hands.
Does it help that, like, Danny Dimes, Saquon, Evan Ingram, most of their star players are all young too? I assume that helps a lot.
It's big. It's a big deal because you're trying to build a culture and set a standard. Now, I'm not saying that the Giants culture was bad before. I mean, it was pretty fucking terrible, I guess, with that. Who is that, a Pittsburgh guy that had his slick back hair?
Sean McAdoo.
No, that guy.
Ben.
Stuck.
Ben McAdoo.
Yeah, whatever his name is. He's an Irish guy, but he had Italian hair.
Yeah.
Never works.
Grew up in Pittsburgh.
Pick one.
That's the way it goes. He grew
Big
up in
suits.
Pittsburgh. All right, we got Dan Orlovsky at 1:35, which is 6 minutes from now. We have a 4-minute break. So I've been trying to wait it out so we can come fresh out of the break with Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah.
But Dan Orlovsky's in the middle of a workout.
Oh,
right
I got
now.
a question.
What if he finishes his work? What if he doesn't finish his workout till 1:40? What if Dan Orlovsky cucks us one more time on time?
Danny Oakshire doesn't do
Can't have
extra
it.
reps.
This guy.
You know that?
Stinks. Let's go to Quinn in Oregon. Quinn, what's going on?
Hey, Pat, how are you guys?
Hey, not too shabby, Quinn. I love your energy coming through the years there. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to, big Packers fan here, just like Ty, born and bred into it. I was wondering, somehow trying to justify not taking a receiver this year.
Can't. All right, let's get to a break.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. Can't justify it.
No, you can't.
And if you listen to our conversation with Aaron the other day, he even talked about how I'll probably see the third rounder more so than you'll see the second rounder because I think he was trying to say, like, oh, both the first rounder and the second rounder will play, but in the future they'll probably be pretty good. And it made me go, like, oh, okay, so Gunther just didn't try to make the team better at all.
Well, in their defense, they did go out and get a receiver who then promptly opted out of the season.
Oh,
that was
yeah,
smart.
Funchess.
Yeah, Funchess opted out pretty
Could have got a
quickly.
linebacker, too.
All right, we'll talk about all that and more with Dan Orlovsky. And I know you probably hate Dan Orlovsky, or you might love Dan Orlovsky.
Not me.
When he that's one or the other. When he talks with us, it is electrifying.
Yep.
Dan Orlovsky, ESPN superstar brain and incredibly fit guy, joins us after a workout because he is currently shredded. This is the Pat McAfee Show. His words, not ours. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, September 11th, 2020. I was on a team that was very bad at football. We almost were completely defeated until Dan Orlovsky showed up and got 2 big wins. We ended up almost losing the luck pick because Dan Orlovsky. Everybody thinks they're going to get fired. Every player thinks they're going to get cut. Every coach thinks they're going to get fired. They try to pawn blame off on other positional groups. If it's the linebackers, they're like, we did our job. D-line can't do anything, can't stop it. There's a lot of that chatter, but it's a miserable existence. I mean, it's just the way it is. That's why you have to have so much respect for a player like Joe Thomas, who played a perennial all-pro career in a situation that was so negative and so terrible. I think if Joe Thomas got a chance and his knees let him experience a winning organization, I couldn't even fathom what Joe Thomas would have thought. I mean, life is just much better whenever you win. When you win, food tastes better. Drinks taste better. Sex feels better. Everything is better when you win. Winning cures all, they say. That's not just in the building and for a football team. That's in your life. Everything is just better when you win. And when you lose, especially when you're talking about some of the most competitive humans on earth, it is a nightmare. You got a lot of people trying to jump off the ship. You got a lot of people trying to figure it out. And whenever you're in a situation like that, it's just a full-blown nightmare for everybody. You got to think, when you get to the NFL, let's assume that the humans that make it to the NFL have had a lot of success through their lives. High school football, probably one good player, a guy who's going to make the NFL can lead a team to success. In college, if you have a couple good players that can make the NFL and make it to the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins stink, you're still going to make it to the NFL. Let's assume that team has had success. So then you get to a completely unsuccessful operation, a completely defeated operation, and then it's like, man, this is a whole new life for us. I'll never forget, I had a coach, special teams coach. I won't say his name because this is a terrible thing to say as a coach. We lost the game. It was back in the first regime. We were a good team. We lost the game, and everybody was moping. Like people were not happy that we lost the game the next day. He was, you guys just haven't lost enough. That's what he said. Everybody looked at him and was like, yeah, no crap. What are you talking about, dude? Yeah, this is the winningest decade in NFL history here. Yeah, you haven't lost enough. It's like, you've lost too much, maybe. Are you just comfortable at this point? And that's whenever it can get a little scary. Whenever people are just comfortable just getting their asses kicked every week, that could be a problem. That's when the culture is probably a lost cause. That's when the locker room's too worried about playing dice or playing Boo-Ray or anything else like that. When that starts happening after losses, then you know you're in a bad spot. And I would assume that's not happening at the Dolphins, especially under Ryan Fitzpatrick's watch. But maybe it is. I don't know. But that is a miserable existence. I am not a fan of that. I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC-regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us. I love it. The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Yep, I'm controlling that, by the way.
Bump connoisseur.
Those bumps. Now, granted, their bumps are... Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show, by the way. Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82 and on the YouTube. Today is a day that has seen a lot of things. Obviously, September 11th, so you have that wave of emotions for what happened 19 years ago. The NFL started last night, so we got a chance to talk about that. And today, Friday, September 11th, 2020, is the day that Tom Pelissero officially fucking killed Boston College.
Yeah, he
It is
I'll
trending
see you soon, Tom.
on the internet right now. Ian Rappaport has gotten involved.
See you too, Ian. Fucking shrimp.
What a loser, dude.
Son of a bitch.
Easy. Anyways, joining us now is a man who's been bullied his entire life, Dan Orlovsky. Attaboy, Dan.
Whoa, he's sweating.
I was the bullier, just so we're clear.
What's that?
Oh.
Not something to brag about, though, either.
Nah, yeah. You were probably just a cool guy, got along with everybody. Like I noticed whenever you were on the Indianapolis Colts for a while, almost ruined our Suck for Luck season. Thanks for coming in and winning some games for us. You just got done with a workout. What did you do today? Was it upper body? Was it running? I do believe you've looked better than you've ever looked in the past here these last couple of days on NFL Live.
Thanks, man. I'm married. So no running. Can't really do long distance running. The old left leg won't handle that. But
yeah.
I did like a 20-minute beachbody.com Sean T workout.
Whoa, no free yet.
Yeah, you got to get into it, man. 20 minutes. Use a stepper. Who's that? Richard Simmons. Richard Simmons like.
Hey, is Richard Simmons alive?
He was kidnapped at one point.
Don't know.
Yeah, we don't know if he's back.
Maybe you're the
Like
next.
Sean T.
Maybe you're the next Richard. Oh, Sean T took him because Sean T's a guy, Beachbody.
Danny Simmons.
Now, how have you enjoyed NFL Live? I love the vibe of the show, new cast, same sport, NFL. How have you been enjoying it? You're now a host of a primetime show that's daily on ESPN.
Thanks, man. It's been a blast so far. I think, when they told us we were going to start a couple weeks before the season, I'm like, why? There's no games, same storylines, blah, blah, blah. But it was good to kind of get a feel for how it was going to go, especially with remote stuff. Exactly what, how much kind of real disagreement and argument can we get into without trying to become a show that it's not. So it's been really good so far. Obviously huge to get games back, but I think we've got a really good group. Everyone's got different strengths. And so now having games, it'll be big time.
NFL Live every day at 4 p.m. on ESPN. One of the standard bearers of ESPN has been around a long time. We're talking to one of the hosts now, Dan Orlovsky, a man who played 13 seasons in the NFL. He is a guy who loves good quarterback play and breaking down things. Last night out of Patrick Mahomes, there was a couple of drops, but that offense, it goes from being potentially the most explosive offense in the history of the NFL. The history of the NFL, the most explosive offense. Then they add in CEH to save some characters here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And he's a ground and pound guy. Andy Reid used it, loved it. And with all those, are they uncompete-withable on the offensive side of the ball at this point?
Yeah, they're going to be, if that's what we're going to get, it's unstoppable. I'd say, while we thought it could be the best and most explosive, if they're going to add the component of a run game, they're the most dominant offense in the NFL. Without getting too nerdy, I'd say there's two things that really stand out. First of all, you know how we talk about 11 personnel, 12 personnel for people listening, 1 back, 2 tight ends, 1 back, 1 tight end? I think they've kind of created their own personnel grouping in a way where it's a Big 10 personnel, meaning 1 back, no tight ends. But even though Kelsey's on the field, they are strictly using Kelsey as a wide receiver right now. And so they're really spreading the field out, think sideline to sideline, spread the field out with 4 dudes that are really good. And so as a defense, you go, well, we got to spread out too, right? You got to spread out as well to cover all those guys. And it's really simple. If you decide to protect yourself against the pass and play with 2 safeties deep, they now can run the ball. That kid had 90 yards after contact last night. That's, to me as a coordinator, I go, well, if I want to protect against the pass, not only do they have an advantage of the run game, but now he makes one-on-one guys miss. And then if you want to go, okay, we got to stop the run, you just have absolutely no chance matching up on the outside. So that's taken them to from explosive to being dominant, meaning we could do whatever we want, whenever we want, however we want to.
Well, and I think also after watching your video last night about that tunnel screen that was on the 3-yard line where they took 2 fullbacks or a fullback and a tight end out to the side, they're abusing defense's rules as well. So Andy Reid and Bieniemy are also smart enough to abuse the defense's rules. So hey, whenever we take a tight end out here or a fullback out here, you have to bring a linebacker out. So now you got a linebacker in space basically in a confined area in the corner. Now it's supposed to bump. They're taking advantage of people's rules. They have enough weapons that you can't keep up with, and now they have a dominant running game with an offensive line that was road grading people last night. It is you just got to hope for an injury, I guess, or is there a defense that could potentially stop them, or is it just whoever's got dudes has to do it?
Yeah, I don't think there's a defense that could stop them. I think that the only defense that could potentially stop them would be a ball control offense. We saw the Colts do it last year and held the ball for 41 minutes. There is no defense that is going to stop or slow down that offense. It has to be a team thought, right? Our offense is going to hold the ball. If you look at their 4 losses last year, Pat, 1 was with Matt Moore, so kind of throw that one out. and they were Indy, Houston, and Tennessee. All of them had the ball for 40-plus minutes. So they just didn't give Kansas City snaps. I think that you make a really good point with the rules thing. I've always said this, until defensive coordinators start calling defenses like offensive coaches do, you're going to be behind guys like Andy Reid. Like Andy Reid is the type of coach that will dictate to you what you're going to do. Then he knows your adjustment to what he wants or what he's going to do, and then he attacks that. I said this a couple weeks ago. The really good coordinators in the NFL don't attack defenses. They attack people.
Whoa.
And that kind of play that you mentioned last night, he attacked that linebacker. And you better hope that your offense can control the football for the whole game.
So there was a couple incompletions and a couple drops and things like that, but it seemed like he was making all the right reads. And Patrick Mahomes said, and I've talked about this a couple times on the last couple of days because it is eye-opening to me. He said that he didn't even understand how to read defenses until halfway through last season or something like that.
Yeah.
He said it on the barbershop show. And now that, can you see from him that he knows what the other teams, was there ever a moment last night where you thought Patrick Mahomes looked confused? And is that because of Houston stinking, or is that because Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense is just so advanced right now?
No, they're just so advanced, and he's really well coached. You know, I mean, he's just really well coached. 3 plays stick out in my mind that tell me, like, because I thought he used his eyes well last year, even his MVP year as well. Used his eyes well, but when you script stuff and Andy dials it up so well, you can kind of anticipate all that stuff. But I thought there were 3 plays that stood out to me last night that showed me like a growth in mind. One, I don't know if you guys heard it, but on the broadcast, you heard him at one point walk up to the line of scrimmage and go, L, 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 and he put up the L thing for like Lauderdale. He realized that they were showing like an all-out blitz, and he said, you know what, like, screw this. I'm not going to deal with it. I'll just throw a quick screen, and we'll kind of, that sawed-off block on the edge. Like, he would not have saw that last year. He would have just tried to drift and throw a ball. There was another play where he brought motion over, and he's yelling to his offensive lineman, 41's coming, 41's coming. That means the defensive guy's going with the motion, so he's telling the offensive line, don't count that guy in your run stuff. And then the third thing was when he checked to an inside go route to, I think it was 11, Robinson versus a one-on-one matchup, like just different level stuff like that, understanding exactly what the offense wants and the idea. I mean, Peyton was like that, right? And so if he even comes close to the stuff Peyton saw pre-snap, he will be the best quarterback to ever play because he's the most talented one.
Yeah, and he also has the it factor. Like he just has the it factor. Big moments, it seems like he's going to play his best. Last night was a big moment. I assumed they were going to blow out the Texans. I said it very loud on this show yesterday. Made a lot of money off of it, which is nice. But it was interesting to watch because a guy named James from California called in a little bit ago, and he asked a good question. Do the Chiefs have too many weapons? Which is a hilarious thing to think about. But let's talk about this. In the first half, it was very obvious. Tyreek Hill was a distraction the whole first half. That post route he ran to turn the safety for Robinson to open up for that go route, there was numerous times where he's going around. And at halftime, you could tell that there was an effort to be like, hey, let's get Tyreek Hill the ball now. They're going to have people that buy into being a part of this offense, and you're not going to get as many balls if you're the only option. But it feels like they have the right group of guys in there who just only care about dominating. And I don't know how you can stop a team if you got everybody bought in, especially a guy like Tyreek Hill, who first half he didn't even get looked at. He was just being used as a distraction, like, hey, that's my role right now. I think that's another level, is like they all buy into the fact that we can be something special here.
Yeah, I think Sammy Watkins is a good example too, right? Like Sammy decided to take less money to stay there, and even said, I wanted to stay because I think that we can really be part of, everyone says something special, but I think they actually believe that. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, the too many weapons things, right? You always have to go, okay, work backwards. If there are too many weapons, number one, is there a problem with the person trying to get them the football, the quarterback? No. I mean, that guy is able to see so many different things, and he's going to take shots more often than not because he's so talented. And then working back even more, does the guy calling the plays and designing the plays, does he know like how to get those guys their football? And I think that Andy Reid just got a great understanding of what those guys are good at, how to kind of accentuate their strengths. So this is not the Cleveland Browns type of situation from last year where there's a ton of talent and they don't know how to get them the ball. There's plenty of snaps to go around with that offense. So I think that each week each week, Andy's, again, find guys that you attack. He's going to have different people on different defenses. He's going to want to attack with different people.
All right, let's look at the weekend. I assume you're going to talk about that on NFL Live, which we love watching.
It's the best.
Love.
We watch every day here at the office, every single day.
You're the best. You're the best.
Me?
You are. I actually have an idea for that sign when we're done, by the way.
Oh, what is it?
You had that blinking, the Pat McAfee show behind you, that blinking light.
Yeah.
You should sell those.
Oh, like live nude signs. Like
neon
yeah.
lights.
Neon
Still
lights.
want those companies?
I mean, do you know how much money that would cost? Probably we'd make negative money on that.
Nah, dude, those would be a hot item.
Would you put one in your house?
I would definitely put one in my home.
Really?
Oh. Wow. Can I get it with those colors, that reddish and teal?
You're guaranteeing a sale to you at least if we do it?
100%.
Good thing about these $10,000 neon signs.
Yeah, perfect.
You can have them. There's only a couple. I'm happy for you, Dan.
Just order it.
This weekend, what are some things you're looking forward to in the big games this weekend? We got Bears, Lions, Colts, Jags, Dolphins, Pats, Browns, Browns, Ravens, Packers, Vikings, Bucks, Saints, Cowboys, Rams, amongst other things. What is a big storyline in your head when it comes to quarterback? Is it Dak? Can Dak do the same thing he did last year and play well and then actually win some games with Big Mike? Is it potentially Kenny Golladay being out for the Lions potentially here with the Lions being favored? How about Old Man Rivers leading the Colts now down to a team that's obviously tanking? What are some storylines you're looking for? Aaron Rodgers, this guy, is he back and better than ever? What are some things you're thinking about for the weekend, Dan?
Yeah, I'll start with Aaron and the Packers. You know, if you watch, especially against Minnesota, first of all, Minnesota's two starting corners are new, right? And so while they might become good players or they're high on them, they're new. And for an offense in Green Bay last year, and I said this all last year, there were 3 or 4 plays almost every single game close to being really, really explosive and good. And so have they kind of narrowed that? Have they gotten rid of those 2 or 3 or 4 plays that they just missed on last year? Will they go after some of those young corners? Danielle Hunter not playing is huge. And then can Aaron find a number 2? You know, Devontae last year ripped up Minnesota, but no one else did anything. And so does Lazard step up? Like, I'm really interested to see that. And then
Dan, if you're a quarterback and your GM utilizes the draft to not make your team better at all, how do you go ahead and just wipe that out and just be like, yeah, this team's doing the right stuff? I mean,
I think it's hard. I think Aaron's handled it like flawlessly.
Me too.
I don't like how everyone's like, yeah, but he's Aaron Rodgers, and like, yeah, he still needs players around him. Like he's not Aaron Rodgers from 12 years ago. Still really good, but like I looked at it this year off-season wise with Pat, and I said the older quarterbacks, the Breeze, Brady, Rivers, Rodgers, and Roethlisberger. Like, what did those organizations in the offseason do to help those guys? All 4 of the other ones got help besides Aaron. Phillip got Michael Pittman Jr. Big Ben, they got Claypool and Ebron. Breeze, they went and drafted a center in the first round, and then Emmanuel Sanders. And Brady, obviously, with everything that Tampa did. And Aaron Rodgers got, Jordan. So it's like, God, what are we doing?
Damn it, Dan.
Heartbroken.
Yeah, it's just so I'm interested to see how that happens. But for Aaron, I just,
it's awesome.
I want to get Aaron kind of cleaned up some of his mechanics. I think he's been the best quarterback in football for 12 years, and his mechanics have always been subpar because he's stupid talented. I don't know if he can get away with that stuff anymore like that, and so I just want to see if he's cleaned some of that stuff up. Tom down in Tampa, obviously how quickly they can get firepower going. Dak's got a gajillion pounds of pressure on him. And so there's a ton of stuff that I can't wait for Sunday.
NFL Live today at 4 o'clock. Have you guys already prepared that? I saw that you guys have a group text message that says greatest NFL show or something like that.
World's best NFL show, yeah.
World's best NFL.
I'm not on,
I saw that.
on Fridays.
World.
Yeah.
You're not on Friday? They got you. The world's best show said, let's get better. Get Orlovsky the hell off.
Get Danny
wow.
Hard time out. Full. Give me a full. No, full. This is full.
Yeah, you're half this year, yeah.
I got a college game on Saturday, so I need the majority of Fridays to prepare for a college game.
Who you got?
I got the old Charlotte Appalachian.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a
good
barn
game.
burner.
We talked about that game.
Yeah.
Big spread.
We talked about the Appalachian State
Warriors.
Mountaineers Mountaineers taking on that Charlotte Hornets squad.
Oh, yeah.
Nope, 49ers.
Oh, yeah, the Charlotte 49ers.
Right. Yeah, NBA on the brain.
Yeah, well, it's on me because Game 7 tonight. Whenever those two teams link up, everybody knows what Dan Orlovsky on the call especially. Put an hour or two aside to lock into this game that is happening at what time and where?
It's on noon tomorrow in Bristol, Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
NBC, right?
Oh, wow.
No, ESPN.
Oh, okay.
ESPN.
Hey, Pat, how long do you think Charlotte's football program's been around?
Well, the good thing about the Charlotte 49ers is you would think immediately with a name like the 49ers, it'd be like, well, that would make sense for a West Coast team because the 49ers is actually a call to those who were on the gold rush to go across the country over there. So this team actually was 49ering down to Charlotte down there, and they were trying to find gold in a college football program. So that's why I'd say that it's much more relevant or prevalent or close, and I'd say it's like 17, 18 years that team's probably been around.
Well, if you just took off the team, you'd be perfect. 7.
7 years. 7
You're
years.
close.
Got it.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good, though, Pat.
They've been thinking about it for much longer than
I was
7
getting hand signals from the side over there, and he was doing this, okay?
12. They voted in 2008 that there should be a football team, okay?
Yeah, and they started thinking 17
But
years
this
ago.
is, you got to get rid of this one.
Oh, I've never done hand signals for numbers.
Or just do this.
We were trying to cheat. Well, we didn't know that. We thought it was 12.
That
We
looks
didn't-
like 25 anyway.
Who's going to win that game? Appalachian State is always a good football team.
Appalachian State, they're really good. They got a good little quarterback that can play, man. They got some good football players.
So calling the game from a studio there, we heard you last week on Memphis. Is it really good? Do you know, feel like you're really part of the game, or you hate it? Huh?
It's awful. Just being honest, it's awful. Dude, it's me in my play-by-play guy in a studio that's, I don't know, probably the size of the studio that you're sitting in. Maybe I can't see the whole studio. Maybe a little bit smaller, like, I don't know, 20 by 20 room. And it's just us calling it off a television screen.
Well, hey, you do a great job. Can't wait to watch tomorrow at noon on ESPN. You got Charlotte 49ers, a team that is going into their 7th year, and they have been on the search for gold down there in college football, taking on the Appalachian State Mountaineers. And on the call will be Dan Orlovsky. He decided to skip NFL Live for that. Ladies and gentlemen, normal host of NFL Live, except for on Fridays, because he's got to prepare for big games on Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Orlovsky. Dan, can you give a little flex for the people there? Can you give a little flex for the people?
Oh
my God. Oh.
Pat, I haven't had a carb since April.
Really?
That's a lie.
I was about to say, why are you working out so hard? If you're working out so hard, that like is what carbs are for, right? You work out hard so you can eat good?
Nah. I don't poison my body like that.
I just had a Pop-Tart.
I work out so hard so when I stand next to my wife, I don't look like a loser.
Can we see that arm one more time there?
You want this like this view?
Oh.
Ready?
Oh.
Yikes.
Now watch
The
the
other
trick.
view's
Watch
much
the trick.
better.
No, didn't work. No. Cramping. Cramping.
Man.
Can I get a? Can I get a? When can I count on that light? Whoa!
Yeah. That's what I thought. That's
Don't
what
bring knives to a gun show, buddy.
By the way, welcome to the
Don't
missile
throw
launcher.
spitballs at a warship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And I have sunk your battleship, kid. Dan Orlovsky. Attaboy, Dan.
Any small arms.
All right, wrapping up hour 2 here. I got a text from AJ in the middle of that interview and said, "Stop lying to Dan. You do not watch NFL Live." And
That's not true.
That is not true.
It's always on every day. Always on the TV.
We watch it every single day. Yeah. It is a good show. Good vibes.
It
Is
is.
the volume always on? Not always, because we got other stuff going on sometimes.
Great lower thirds.
But we do watch every day. We do watch every single day.
Haven't missed a show.
I see sitting down by your foot there. I mean, it's kind of been distracted because you got bullied by Tom Pelissaro. But I do like the fact that you have brought your it's like your little baby that you carry around everywhere.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know how to make any of these drinks.
So Boston Connor has somehow found this thing called Cutwater.
Yeah.
We read an ad for it in the podcast the other day.
That's right.
And I believe they got on board even more because Connor has found this thing. It's called Cutwater, and it's pre-made cocktails in a can.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're an absolute stooge and don't know what's supposed to go into anything,
Which I am.
and you can't get to a bar where a bartender is, these things come in a can and go right to your house, and they are very alcoholic, I believe. Right?
Yeah, I mean, they're delicious. I'm not 7% alcohol in a can. I mean, I love love them.
Yeah, well, let's not start drinking those yet, okay? You got to do a job.
Yeah,
I like that you're carrying it around like
flavor's
it is
that?
a child. It's a mule.
It's a vodka mule.
All right, enough of that. It is stupid that you've been carrying that around. It's like his little child. He's been
Friday.
walking around everywhere.
Mitt's rubbing off on me.
All right, hour 3 kicks off on the other side. We have A.J. Hawk joining us to talk about all things football and send you into the weekend in a beautiful fashion. It's the Pat McAfee Show, Mad Dog Radio on YouTube, Friday, September 11th, 2020.
This is Remember the Titans. How's it going? My name is Pat McAfee. I do a lot of things. Today I am a professional analyst getting ready for the Thursday night football opener in beautiful Nippert Stadium with the Cincinnati Bearcats here at Higher Ground. This secluded world. Good squad, good place. Excited for this morning practice. I'm obviously unbiased, but I'm pulling hard for Cincinnati to do well on Thursday night.
I like to say, all in clipboard quarterback.
This is awesome.
We got hopefully a future NFL kicker. Let's see what you got. Come on.
This is great for the brand. This guy's an athlete. Athlete.
Hey, let's go.
Let's go.
Kickers are athletes. We'll find out. Let's go.
Heads up. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for hospitality. Have a great day. Let's go get
Going in now, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man. I gotta blow today. I'ma blow today. I ain't hearing what they say. Need a blue face. I've been caring about the race. I've been trying to eat. I need more than just a taste. Now they trying to talk. Oh no, they should know their place. Man, I'm ballin'. This ain't cap, baby. Now I feel like calling. From the pro, but I got the music poppin'. All the time, man, it started get obnoxious. Now I gotta drive, yeah, I'm feeling nauseous. Gotta drive top down, then I hop out. I've been feeling hot now.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm up there.
Yeah, you got it.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you. This has been so cool to see. Whenever we were driving out here into the sticks, my boys and I from Indianapolis, we were told by Coach Fickle it was a 40-minute drive from where we live. Absolute lie, hour and a half out here. But as we were getting out here, we didn't know what we were gonna show up to. And this is such a cool scene here. I remember whenever I was in college, we won a lot of games, beat Cincinnati a couple times. It was a great day. But I remember my boys, right? Like I still am in touch with them every single day, every single week. We had this moment where we went from boys to become men. And you guys were a really young team last year, but got to experience a lot of wins. Like now the expectation level are high. And I can't wait to talk you all up on Thursday night against UCLA. UCLA refused to respond to my tweet. So I am a Bearcat fan on that opening night, and I cannot wait to watch you guys dominate. And I think this is such a cool thing. Coach, I can't thank you enough for your hospitality. I got a bunch of swag from you guys, too. This has been a cool day. Enjoy this, though. This doesn't happen a lot. Even when you get into the NFL, it's not like college. It's not like your boys. It's not like this. It's a whole different world that you'll remember forever. And I was honored to be here to watch you today, and I can't wait to watch you guys go win the thing on Thursday night and then throughout the rest of the season. Thank you so much. Cheers, boys. Thank you. One, two, three.
McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Hey, Twine, you a fool for this one.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You a fool for playing this one.
I'm in my zone every day, every night.
Oh.
Another couple shots about to get me right. Surrounded by the ones that get me through it all. Only thing we need more of is alcohol.
Whoa! Hey. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Hour 3 kicking off. Uncle Sam and Twine. We getting lit. Uncle Sam has a K and Sam has 2 M's. Shout out to Uncle Sam and Twine for the banger. It's Friday, September 11, 2020, 2:02 Eastern Daylight Time. And joining us now is a Super Bowl champion with a chiseled jawline. Can't wait to hear his thoughts on last night's game and the weekend we're about to have. Ohio State legend. Oh, it sounds like Big Ten's dead. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk. You look good, dude.
What's up, fellas?
How's it going, man? You look like you have a little bit of a tan today as opposed to the ghost white that you've been the last couple of days.
Well, I don't know if I have this camera now, and I've been going back and forth with Zito trying to figure out the settings, and I just can't figure anything out. So it'll probably be a different tint, a different shade every day.
It's a nice camera, though.
This is a good one. You have a good tan on you right now.
This might be the one.
Yeah, it's like a filter. Your eyes are still blue. Yeah, everything's good. Did you see in the second hour, Tom Pelissero dunked on Connor Campbell? I don't know if you got a chance to see that.
I did. I watched the clip on that you guys posted on Twitter, actually, and Pelissero was really feeling himself, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, Pelissero looks like he's 12, and Ian Rappaport also said something. He's a shrimp and a dork. So, I mean, it is what it is. You know, stuff's going to happen. You just got to ride with it.
He's in a war right now against all insiders, it feels like, from NFL Network. They are coming at him from all angles right now. And I'm going to let you know, he is flustered. This is a feel-good Friday. Shouldn't be happening. Did you watch the game last night, AJ? I assume you did. And I can't wait to see what the ratings were. I don't know if those have come out yet. I assume they are going to be grotesque. Yes. I think they're going to be grotesque. What a game. And I led off the show with this, and I just talked to Superman, Big Man Dan, NFL Live every day at 4. We all watch it. Every single day we watch NFL Live at 4 o'clock.
Yep.
Every single
religiously.
day.
Never miss it.
Every single day we watch it. He talked about how that offense is unstoppable at this point. It's almost dominant now that they got this premier running back in there. As a man that played middle linebacker for a long time in the NFL, Super Bowl champion, highest of highs, national champion, everything like that. When you look at an offense like that, especially how they're performing right now here, fresh out the gates, doesn't really seem to have much rust, right where they left off last year after the Super Bowl. What was your initial thoughts of the team and the game?
I thought the Chiefs looked, I guess, what we thought they would be. And they had a bit of a weird slow start, I think, when the touchdown initially that gets taken away. Obviously, that was a good call to reverse it. It was not a touchdown. And the Texans go up 7-0. David Johnson rejuvenated his career, I feel like. He at least feels he didn't have to rejuvenate. He's just coming off some being banged up for a couple of years. Thought he looked good for Houston. But, man, Kansas City, I caught some of your Orlovsky interview. Yeah. Dan brought up some really, really good points. But you're right. Like, pick your poison on how you want to get beat by these Kansas City Chiefs. If they continue this way, the only chance you have, I think, against anybody, any quarterback as good as Patrick Mahomes, you got to find a way to make him uncomfortable and get pressure on him. And you knew Houston was most likely not going to be able to consistently get pressure on Patrick Mahomes.
Which is wild because J.J. Watt seemed to have a big game, by the way.
Yeah.
And J.J. Watt got rolled up on twice. He had bodies laying on him. I thought there was a chance he was going to get taken out, finish the game. The Houston Texans offense looked good early, and then it kind of fizzled out. I guess that means the Chiefs defense started to look good. It was, for the first game, you would expect that offense to maybe be a little bit on a different page with each other. They just were right in, it was just right back in there. A couple drops, obviously, but aside from that offense just looks stupid. And I did not know enough about CEH, okay? A lot of Joey Burrow talk last year, Justin Jefferson, Go Tigers, Coach O talk. That guy is a weapon. And Damian Williams opting out. I assume Andy Reid was like, okay, thank God. We can actually just go ahead and give the ball to this guy then. And we drafted number 32 overall. And our offense gets even better. I think you heard me talk to Dan Orlovsky about this then. The Tyreek Hill being a distraction. When you're preparing for a team like them, That's the guy you have to prepare for, right? Because he can take the top off anytime he wants to. So for the rest of the year, somebody's going to be spying on Tyreek Hill. Maybe they'll be able to shade towards Travis Kelce, like let's get him off the line, let's go ahead and give him a bump. But then what do you do about Sammy Watkins, McCole Hardman, Robinson guy who came out of nowhere last night, and now Clyde? I don't know how you stop. And the offense was road grading people last night, by the way. Not just great pass set, not just great whenever Patrick Mahomes in shotgun and he's drifting back and throwing. They were running people over. That's going to be a nightmare, and that over is going to be very high for whatever they do for the rest of the year. The team over for them is going to be very high for the rest of the season, I think.
Well, it's scary to think about. When you think of Tyreek Hill, though, when you say he's a distraction, by design, we know he's going to get a lot of attention from the defense. You're always going to want a safety in the middle of the field at some point to come over the top and help out whoever is initially covering him. But Tyreek Hill, what makes him unique, I think, we know he is an absolute burner. Straight line, you take that guy against anybody. But it's pretty rare that you have a guy that's that big of a burner that is so sudden and quick and can run every route. And that's the one thing. Like a lot of straight line guys are straight line guys. Hey, I'm going to give him a cushion, but he can't slow down. Well, Tyreek Hill can slow down. He can go from 100%, stop on a dime and break it out and just kill you.
Well, is he fast or quick? He's both. He's both. He's both. He's fast and quick. Oh yeah, quick as a hiccup. That son of a bitch out there. He is. As an athlete, and by the way, if he's bought into the fact that I understand people are going to distract the hell out of me or whatever, I mean, let's go. Okay, so there's mixed reports on what the ratings are. I was getting a text here on the ratings. I got a text from Zito who had a source, and now I'm going to get a text from Nick. I guess the one person, David Mullen, via Deadline, is reporting that the NFL season kickoff ratings dropped 16.1% from 2019's opener.
Not a chance.
And then this one says that preliminary total of 16.4 million viewers watched last night. Ooh. So if it did drop 16%, what is that? You do some quick math there, probably up over 20-some million last year. 16 million, still a lot of people watching a sport in a game that last night became a blowout or whatever. I assume a lot of people are going to be watching football this weekend. It was, by the way, it did exactly what we thought it would. This morning, I think there was a lot more confidence. People were like kind of upbeat. Now, granted, did they boo during the sign of unity? Did they say Chiefs? J.J. Watt says they booed. Bill O'Brien says they didn't. Patrick Mahomes says they didn't. Andy Reid says they didn't. Chiefs fans that we were getting messages from on the internet were saying they didn't. I assume some people did. I mean, that's kind of a conversation piece. But it's really nice to be able to look to the weekend and be like, okay, we got our sport back. I'm going to be locked in a couch for all of Sunday. Then Monday, I'm coming in here and overreacting to everything. Hell yeah. Really good, AJ, to be where we're at right now.
Yeah, it does. This Monday, after the first full weekend of games, is when you can come in and we can completely write off multiple teams like they're done, no chance. And then we're going to crown 6, 7, maybe 8 teams as the Super Bowl champs.
We know there's only one.
Yeah,
only one. Hey, Jay, there's only one. Hey, welcome to the show, pal. There's only one champion.
You ever played football before?
And by the way, that champion, Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs.
Easy.
Kansas City Chiefs obviously going to win the Super Bowl. And I think the only team we won't overreact for is the Patriots. If the Patriots stink, we'll be like, new quarterback. It's the Patriots. They're feeling out. But then we got to remember, Tom Curran said that Calvary's not coming over the hill later. They are going to stink forever. I mean, there's just a lot to go. I'm so pumped football is back this weekend. David Johnson, 2015, great running back. He was in a scheme with Bruce Arians then that really fit his skill set nice. I think he gets back into a scheme that really does him justice. I think he's motivated because he's on a new team again. I think they're going to make him a focal point. He looked very good in the first quarter and then a little bit into the third quarter. But then obviously Bill O'Brien at halftime tells Michelle Tafoya that we got to stop the run better and we got to run the ball better. It's like, well, hey, fucking pal, I don't know if you're watching a game that we're watching. That mask might be a little bit too high on like Andy Reid's. You guys are running the ball pretty well. David Johnson was back, it seemed like last night.
Yeah, it had to feel good for him. I mean, just as a fan of football, I feel good for David Johnson. He was able to come out there, knock the rust off, and look that good that early. So, I mean, that's one positive that the Houston Texans have to take forward with him. But I don't know a bunch of other positives you have other than Deshaun Watson, your quarterback, and David Johnson, your tailback. Like, what else do they have? Like, they have a lot of holes, it seems to be.
Kicker missed the kick.
Will Fuller they have a brutal schedule, too. Like, they could easily be 0-4.
Well, Fuller dropped one early, didn't he?
Yeah, that tight end they had, Eakins, I think he only had 2 catches, but he had a touchdown. He looked pretty good. They didn't really...
Stills had a drop, right?
Stills had a couple,
Yeah,
you're right. The guy that caught the ball
Randall
and ducked.
Cobb was nowhere.
Yeah,
right?
Yep. Yeah.
And the linebacker ran right over him.
Yeah, Randall Cobb ran that one tunnel screen. That's like kind of his play. He's been running, and I tweeted this, and I mean it. I think he's been running that play for the last 25 years, and he's been killing people with it. It was nice to see him kind of get back out there, but you're right. I don't know if there's anybody in the Texans organization that's like, good game last night. I think but if you're the Texans, are you like, well, that's the Chiefs? Like,
Super Bowl champion.
We have to reset our focus here to be like, yeah, we just ran into potential very hot dynasty in the making right now. We got to refocus. Remember, we're in the same division as Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's right.
Okay, we got Ryan Tannehill, Philip Rivers. We got to refocus. We got to get this out of our minds as quickly as possible. Even though everybody's going to be talking about it because the Chiefs look unstoppable, I assume that they have that mindset right now. It's like, yeah, we got not one single facet of our team was great last night, but we got to get over this quickly because that could have been the Chiefs.
Well, yeah. Oh, by the way, we play the Ravens, Steelers, and Vikings our next 3 games, so it doesn't get any easier for these guys.
They got the Ravens next week?
Yeah.
Yikes. Oh, no.
Sorry. Yikes.
But we don't know what's going to come from that offense.
No.
We saw Lamar Jackson juke the living shit out of a jet ski this offseason.
Yep.
Remember that? Whenever he juked the jet ski, scored over top of it. I mean, that thing was awesome.
Good play.
Lamar Jackson coming fresh off an MVP season. Will they be able to replace what Marshall Yanda brought to that offense? That is what we will find out this weekend. Ravens are taking on the Browns. Ravens are -7.5. That seems like a lot of points. I'm not a big bet on the underdog team. I normally just kind of stay away from it. But Browns +7.5 for some reason feels good in my soul. I don't know why. Myles Garrett is back. Okay, that guy is back on defense of the ball. He was defensive MVP. Kevin Stefanski will be calling plays. They got a new offense over there. Baker Mayfield very much understands that although he has a lucrative acting career, a la what Gronk said whenever he retired, waiting for him if he wants to get cut after this year, he's going to have to play football well this year. I think the Browns +7.5 feels damn good against the Baltimore Ravens right now. What's that, Diggs?
So it just came out this morning. Their starting quarterbacks, Kevin Johnson and Greedy Williams, have been ruled out, and their other corner, MJ Stewart, is questionable. And their starting safety, or who's going to be the starting safety, is out for the season as well. So the Browns are dealing with some secondary issues.
Which doesn't really matter. I mean, Hollywood Brown gets open and the tight ends get open. You got to be able to stop the run. Up front, they got Myles Garrett back. Maybe everything you just said changes me a little bit, but you're in Ohio. How does the team – is there any optimism about Cleveland over there, or does everybody think they're just the Browns and the Browns stink forever?
I don't know. I mean, at least where I'm at in Ohio, there's a lot more hype and a lot more, like, anxiety over what Joe Burrow is going to be because he's done everything. Like, that's all they talk about. Does Joe ever get nervous? Like, he's already the team captain. He's already running the show. I think people here are really, really excited about that. But I think the Browns, too, people are just, I don't know. I think they're scared to get their expectations up just because of what has happened in the past, especially last season when everyone built them up. So it's like, hey, whatever. Any win, anything they do positive is a good thing for us. It's just icing on the cake. We don't really expect much out of them.
Bro, couldn't drink Bud Light in the entire city for a few almost months last year. And then remember when Baker came in for Tyrod Taylor and Tyrod Taylor got hurt? It was
Thursday
like
night game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Thursday night game. He was good, by the way. It was
Very
like,
good.
here we go. Here's some energy. Here's a spark. And the Cleveland Browns fans like, okay, we got OBJ in here now. We got Jarvis Landry in here now. Myles Garrett's a monster. Here we go. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And then last year was just a big, draw on 4th and 18 show. Draw on 4th and 18.
Does it matter at all that the Browns were one of the 2 teams to beat the Ravens in the regular season last year? Like, do you think that they know kind of what they need to do to win more so than some other teams maybe?
That's very interesting. And a lot of people talked about the Colts beating the Chiefs last year. The Chiefs weren't the Chiefs when the Colts beat the Chiefs last year. And I love that the Colts beat the Chiefs last year. I made money off of it because I bet on the Colts whenever they beat the Chiefs last year. But I think the Ravens became the Ravens.
After that point,
Yeah, I don't know when that happened, but I think
it was early.
The Ravens became the Ravens after that. So, and that's why the beginning of the season does not matter, right? If you look at the Chiefs last year, they lose 4 games. They lose Texans, I believe, Colts, and some other people beat them.
Packers,
and then they found their team. Yeah, the Chiefs, I mean. Then they found their team and got hot. It's like, whatever team does that is going to be the team. And if you're hot from jump like the Chiefs seem to be, that's going to be a problem. Anyways, we got to get to a break here, 16 minutes into the 3rd hour. We will take some YouTube questions during the break and also some phone calls on the other side of this break on Mad Dog Radio, Channel 82. It's myself, the boys, and the legendary, incredible tan having AJ Hawk. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, September 11, 2020. Computer died. Computer's dead. Thing unplugged. It's dead as you could be. How does it go to 0% just in a couple minutes here?
I don't know.
That's
Such
Apple.
a sack of shit.
That's
Why don't you
Apple
plug it
for
in?
Damn you, Steve Jobs.
Well, it normally is plugged in. We had to move some stuff here to get some stuff in here, and then now we're at the spot where it wasn't plugged in. But it could have only been unplugged for minutes at this point. Now it up here in the corner says 0%. Well, then how the fuck's it on, Steve? Hey,
question.
hey, Steve, how's it on if we're
Riddle
at
me
0?
that.
That's like I was once in a meeting. And somebody said, phase 0 is now complete. We will now move on to phase 1. It's like that doesn't exist, what you just said right there. Phase 0 means absolutely nothing. AJ Hawk, do you mind if we go to some YouTube questions? You feel good about it?
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
Okay, so we have members now. Okay, so we have a members community, the McAfee Mafia, and if you're a member of the McAfee Mafia, you'll get exclusive streams with AJ and I. AJ and I have not talked about that. You'll get some exclusive streams with myself. You'll get discount codes on the store.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, being a member of the McAfee Mafia, which is our subscription service, our OnlyFans at YouTube, really does have some privileges. And today, for YouTube questions, one of our members will get a chance to ask a question, and hopefully, handsome AJ Hawk and myself will be able to give a good answer to that thing. Zito, what do we have in YouTube? Let's start!
YouTube questions. Coming from McAfee Mafia member Alan Randall.
Hey, shout out to Al.
Big Al.
Boy, Al.
What are we hammering this weekend for FanDuel?
Okay, great question, actually. So I have a super boost at FanDuel, and I should have sent the photo over that they sent to me to Zito or Foxy. The Indianapolis Colts, -7.5, was originally -115 at FanDuel. Yep. We have changed that to +140. Indianapolis Colts +140 to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars by at least 7.5 points. For me, that feels like a lock.
Put the village.
Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, Pat, is that just your emotions talking or your feelings talking because the Colts brought Phillip Rivers on this show and Chris Ballard's been on this show and they paid you a lot of money and they built this building? Maybe. Maybe I have a little bit of a jaded view on what the Colts are, but if you look back into what that team is, that team has a great defense. That team has a great offensive line. They've added another weapon. He's a rookie, so I don't know how that's going to go. But I think the Indianapolis Colts this weekend against a team that doesn't even have a clue if they're a team anymore, the Jacksonville Jaguars, -7.5, feels like a fucking lock to me. And at FanDuel, it's been boosted from -115 to +140, which makes me feel damn good on this super boost this weekend.
Juicy.
Don't forget who the Jags are, too, here.
Dude,
Okay?
the Jags feel like the Dolphins last year, and I looked at the Dolphins' first four games last season. They lost 59-10, 43-0, 31-6, and 30-10.
That feels like a lock, honestly. Like Diggs and I, Diggs is a different type of gambler than I am. Diggs likes to look at the numbers and the trends and all that shit. For me, I just want to know how they feeling. Gardner Minshew's got to feel good that he's the guy, but he also knows he's the only fucking guy. AJ, do you like the Colts -7.5 against the Jags this weekend?
Yeah, I didn't give it much thought until right now, and listening to you lay it out, yeah, absolutely. I think Phil Rivers wants to hit the ground running. I think Indianapolis, I think their offense could be very explosive, and they want to start it off right.
-115 to +140 only at FanDuel, and that's for everybody. And there's also a Spread the Love campaign for every state at FanDuel right now, and it's for the Rams-Cowboys game. Bet on the Rams. I forget how many people it goes up a point. We could all win there if we all get involved in that at FanDuel this weekend. There's no bumper there. Just build up to.
Fiji?
This is the Voyager. Oh, it feels good though, doesn't it?
Going on a voyage.
Down in your soul, that feels good, doesn't it?
Whoa.
Oh.
Build.
You hear this, AJ?
Yeah. I see it. What about Diggs? Doesn't Diggs need a shimmy?
Nice. That's a really good song. Feel Good Friday, September 11, 2020. We are back to call in 1-888-MAD-DOG. Let's get to the phones. Let's go to Matthew down there in Texas. What's going on, Matthew?
Hey, Pat. Hey, Hawk. Hey, boys. How's everyone doing today?
Hey, not too shabby down there, man. Hey, howdy doody down there. How do you want to talk about her?
Man, I'm doing well. I wanted to throw a little wrench in it. You guys have been talking a lot of football this week, and rightly so, because the Chiefs were electric last night. But if you guys weren't aware, across the pond, there's another type of football that's starting up this weekend, and wanted to get your thoughts on the greatest soccer player to ever bless the ground earth itself, Christian Pulisic, getting the number 10 at Chelsea Football Club.
Matthew, you said enough there. Christian Pulisic, America, best soccer player on earth right now. Do you know who this is, AJ? Big soccer guy, you?
I know of him through you, but what he wears the number 10? Is that a big deal?
Yeah, he earned the number 10. So in soccer, obviously there's 11 positions. The position he plays, striker, there are certain numbers for there. I don't know. I played soccer my entire childhood until I'm like 18 years old. I don't know the entire thing, but I do know it's a big fucking deal whenever you get to number 10.
23.
It means like Chelsea said, like, yeah, this dude is the truth. He is the best player on earth. Here's the number 10. Go ahead and have a good one, pal. It's good news. Let's go to Finn in West Virginia. Almost heaven.
West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River.
Life is older,
older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country road, take me home. Mama, take me home, country roads.
West Virginia was not welcomed into the Big Ten whenever they're doing a conference realignment, and thank God they're able to play football this year while the Big Ten is not. Shout out to West Virginia. What do you want to talk about, Finn?
So that was beautiful, guys. It took me back to my WVU days. Not really a question. I just want to give you guys a quick thank you. I was in a bad car wreck at the end of February and exploded my ankle and was told I wouldn't walk, without a walking boot crutches until Christmas. Well, fast forward till middle of July, I was able to walk out of therapy with just tennis shoes. And you and the boys, right in the middle of no sports, you wanted to be a breakaway from the bullshit. And, you guys really helped me through everything.
Let's go! Yeah! Woo! You hear that, AJ? That guy told suck it to the walking boot because he went through the rehab and we were a part of it. Shout out. Thanks for letting us be a part of that, Finn. AJ, you probably motivated him with that speech you gave whenever we started the show earlier.
I don't know about that, but the fact that he was able to walk out in July when they said he wouldn't be able to walk until January, I mean, he's ahead of schedule.
Well said.
Well ahead of schedule.
Well said.
Give the man the credit he deserves.
I agree. He does deserve credit. It's also a question, maybe the doctor that gave him
that time
it won't be back till Christmas.
Doctors.
Hey, go to hell, pal.
Yeah,
all right.
seriously.
You don't know Finn down there in West Virginia. Midnight back in the day, every bar in Morgantown, that song would come on. I don't know if it still happens or not.
Awesome.
It was awesome. It was very awesome. I rarely missed one of those.
Yeah. People in the streets for that?
Yeah, well, Morgantown, just.
It was a shame they didn't play it in the streets over loudspeakers in the streets, and it was only in the bars.
I don't know how.
I picture it
if I had to go back and do it again, couldn't make it. Wouldn't be able to survive. I mean, my liver and kidney really built up some grit in those Morgantown years. You know what I mean? Really go through.
Earned their spot.
Should have focused on a lot of other stuff, but made it here, so who cares? Michael in Indiana, what's going on? That was dumb of me.
What's up, Pat?
What's going on, Michael? To hell with you, AJ.
I'm doing good.
Okay, cool.
So what do you think the Colts are going to do without Quentin Nelson?
Whoa. What are you hearing? You're hearing he's out? You're just hearing it was questionable in practice yesterday. I don't need you breaking news right now with that rave music happening in the background, Michael.
Oh, sorry, I didn't notice.
It's all right.
It's windy on my end.
Okay. Well, yeah, there was reports that Costanzo and Quentin Nelson were either hurt or resting yesterday.
And Ryan Kelly.
That's the entire from center to the left side. Phillip Rivers has never had an offensive line, is what all the Chargers fans say. Now he has an offensive line, and here we are 2-3 days before the game or the season's supposed to kick off, and they're saying Costanzo, Quentin Nelson, and Ryan Kelly are all hurt. It's like, wait a second, I was pumped for this season. Go ahead.
From Zach Kiefer. Colts will have all 3 offensive linemen who missed some practice time this week, Quentin Nelson, Anthony Costanzo, and Ryan Kelly, ready to go Sunday's opener in Jacksonville. All 3 will start.
Thank God, AJ.
There you go.
Thank God, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, what are the odds that all 3 of them go down? They probably just gave him like an off day, or they just have a plan for him, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they took a G day, like, hey, go ahead and take a G day. Go ahead, no G day. Go ahead and have a little break. How many of those did you have? Were you like a 1 week guy, one a week guy you took off, 2 times a week we took off?
I had 0 in 11 years, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know about you, Pat, but I never felt comfortable enough to just sit out practice.
No, it was awesome whenever I started seeing guys take G days. In the first regime, Freeney would be off some days. That was like they had a schedule for him. He would be like on a pitch count or whatever. But nobody really took off. It was like, hey, you go to work here. Reggie was a guy that practiced every single day. Peyton was a guy that practiced every day. Robert Matz practiced every single day. So when you got those guys practicing every single day, it's kind of sets the tone for everybody else. Then when Chuck and Grigson came in, there was a couple OGs, who were like, been around a long time, and they're like, is there any way we can get a day off? And they started calling them G days. And I started looking around, and Vinatieri started looking around. Vinny was like, well, this place has changed. This place has changed, hasn't it? But those guys were very, very right that they were not going to get cut. So, like, I kind of respected it. And I didn't have to do anything in practice anyway, so I shouldn't be judging anybody is what I thought.
But you see the Cowboys opened up $27 million in cap space?
How'd they do that?
They restructured DeMarcus Lawrence to give him some money back. I guess through all the moves that they have made over, I don't know how the last couple months, they got $27 million, like, I guess maybe either now or they will after the season. Yeah.
Well, and by the way, they could have done that, months ago and potentially signed Dak to a long-term deal. They refused to do that. They signed him to a franchise tag. What are they going to do with all that money?
Earl Thomas.
They've paid everybody. Yeah, I guess maybe get Earl Thomas. Jerry Jones has not ruled that completely out. That team Sunday night against the Rams, a lot of people are saying that's potentially the lock of the weekend. Cowboys -3 in Los Angeles. No fans in the stands. That's a massive stadium, brand new stadium. The Cowboys are a team that on paper seems to be much more together than the Los Angeles Rams, but they open up some space. I wonder what they're going to do with that.
I think it was Rappaport who said they're rolling it over for next year.
Oh, so this is to hopefully pay Dak.
Yeah.
They got to open up some money to hopefully pay Dak. Whenever I was negotiating my deal, the Andrew Luck contract was kind of dangled over every single, like, yeah, well, we're going to have to pay Luck here in a couple of years too, so let's remember that. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm
the punter. What does that have to do with me?
Yeah, can you just, so I can't get an extra $150,000? Is that going to change? Is that going to happen? That does happen. Do you like the Cowboys? You do. You picked them to win a Super Bowl. So you must like them this weekend -3 a lot in Los Angeles.
I do. I'm ready for the Alden Smith rebirth coming out party again. He's going to show us that he still has a lot left in the tank. And I think the rest of them, man, I think they have something to prove. I think they're going to rally around Dak, too, with his whole situation where he comes out and he's vulnerable. And I think it was awesome. I think what he did will make his teammates want to fight harder for him. And opponents are not going to sit there and say stuff, oh, you're soft. Come on now. Like what Dak did was awesome. I wish more guys would do it.
I agree completely. And I put out a tweet about this. And the fact that we even have to address different leadership styles because some old white gets on a camera and says something that is absolutely regrettable. But what I said in my tweet was transparency and authenticity is also a very efficient leadership style. In my experience, it's about 400% better than a fraudulent, fake, empty words and messages style of leadership. I respect the hell out of Dak. It was exactly what I said. And then I started thinking about that more and more. Like, there's different styles of leadership. There always has been. There always will be. There's the people who try to make you be scared of them, so you are performing or reacting so that you don't get punished. Like, that is definitely a leadership style that I've experienced, I've seen. And then there's a leadership style where it's like, hey, I'm going to befriend everybody, okay, so that people don't want to let me down, okay? We are going to be one group here where we don't want to let each other down. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to be myself. They're never going to catch me being fake. I'm always going to be me, which I hope they will always be themselves to me, and we're going to play for each other. That is also a very okay leadership style that works more often than not and much better than either the punishment or the fake, this is the words I'm supposed to say, even though they're completely empty, which a lot of motherfuckers do, and I absolutely hate it in all walks of life.
I'm with you. Authenticity is absolutely, especially in professional sports, when professional athletes, just there's something about it growing up. I think dealing with so many different coaches and different people, they can sniff it out real quick if someone is not being themselves. And they're always going to respect someone that's authentic and going to be themselves instead of trying to put on what I should be, what a coach should look like, what a leader what I think a leader should look like. No, be yourself, and guys will follow. If you're authentic and you're good, and you have like a good message or whatever you do, however you carry yourself, lead by example, whatever it is, man. I don't know. The whole situation with Dak, I'm like, man, I thought it was awesome. I think a guy in his position to be that vulnerable and open, awesome. I applaud him. I hope more guys do it.
That's a lot of respect gained there, I would assume, as opposed to complete opposite direction. And the more I thought about it, I was like, what if his brother, that happened to his brother, our world got locked down. What if he didn't? What if he's just like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm good? I think I would be like, oh, this guy isn't
no
even
emotion.
Oh, this is a robot here. Like, I think it would actually go the opposite direction. Like, the more and more I thought about it, it was like, so what are they expecting him to do? Is project strength? And I can understand that is a leadership style, to project strength at all times. This is this is that. But I think in the world that we're in, like, the authenticity of humans means much more than a grandstanding fake thing. And I just think that's the world that we're in more. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the fact that, I don't know. Then obviously more stories started coming out about said makeup old white man.
Yeah.
There's more and more stories, and we've all known.
Slap dick.
What's that?
I didn't know anything. I didn't dive into like anything else going on around it.
What was that?
Well, Skip's a slap dick. Everyone knows it.
Coach Jason Brown there, Coach JB. More stories started coming out about Skip, about how he potentially planted a story with somebody and did all this stuff. And none of these have been.
Well, he had a burner. He's been caught using a burner account, which I don't know. Do people do that?
He's had a hell of a career just completely stirring the pot about shit that does not make any sense. So that is that. But to come out in the world that we're currently in, which is supposed to be a much more understanding world, and mock a guy basically, or question a guy's ability to lead because he's being himself, it just is stupid. I think that's just stupid. Like, I just think that is just a dumb thing. And that's why I'm very thankful this show exists. And I would assume the old whites that get mad about this show for saying the word fuck would probably love just the old empty words.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Hey, just go ahead and speak and don't be like, they probably love that stuff. So there's obviously a demo for everybody, and I'm happy that I don't fall in I like watching jackasses say stupid thing crowd.
Yeah, for sure. For Dak, too, to be in that position where, like, you're going through a contract negotiation like that, and, I mean, very few people are ever in that position to begin with, and then to maybe feel like, oh, well, they're saying all this stuff, but they don't want me. I'm seeing all these other guys get paid. Like, I'm sure that wasn't easy either on top of everything else.
I have been very fortunate to not, and I have had friends and people around me that have anxiety and potentially depressed and things like that. And maybe whenever I was young, I didn't understand it. But now that I've gotten a chance to meet people that have it, and once you put a face to something, it's like, oh, like, hey, we should go ahead and chat about this. Like I've never experienced it. I don't think I fully understand it because I've never felt it myself. But this isn't something that I should go ahead and just bomb on somebody for. Like, that is just, everybody operates different. We're all trying to get along. Just need to stop being assholes to each other and keep it moving. But I do not hate leaders that are real and authentic, because all of a sudden you gravitate to, like, okay, I don't want to let this person down. Like, this is somebody I want to play for. This is somebody I want to work for. This is somebody that I want to show up every day for. I want to do the extra reps for this person. Like, that is a completely okay way to lead, and I would assume it's much more healthy to lead that way, AJ. What was your leadership style? You're probably pretty quiet, do as I do guy.
Yeah, I always, I gravitated towards the, lead by example, I guess. If you need to talk, I'd gladly talk with anybody, but I wasn't going to, jump out there and dance in front of the huddle. It's just not my personality. I would have been fake if I tried to do that.
I love those huddles, okay, on camera. I love those huddles on camera.
James Winston eating much better. They're much better when the camera comes over.
Oh, my God, I loved them. Because it was always like, oh, okay, who's getting in here? Who's doing the performance here tonight? All right.
Who's our leader? Who's our leader for this primetime game? Who's our new leader stepping in?
And then teams put, captains on certain players that the rest of the locker room just like, when this guy talks, we all hate ourselves. Like, I mean, we've all. What's that?
You said we hate ourselves when he talks.
Yeah, when this guy talks.
It's a good way to describe it.
I'm like, why am I even in this room? This guy's talking. Like, listen, I don't think I should be the guy talking, but there has to be another person in this room that could potentially resonate with this team. Listen, we're going to work hard today. We work harder than everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today, you remember all the work you did.
Oh, yeah. They listed off. OTAs started way back in March. OTAs. Then we went on to phase 2 of the off-season program. And then we ran a conditioning test. All of that goes into today.
Are you reading a schedule? I do believe me and AJ are the wrong people to be talking about players that are loud, though, because we have very openly said on numerous occasions, and I think we echo the sentiments of about 95% of NFL players, that none of that shit matters. Just want to let everybody know. Unless you're eating W's. I learned more about that than the other ones that go on.
So what about like so you're saying when Drew Brees does his pregame breakdowns, those don't matter? Or?
1 for me, 2 for you, 3 for us, 4 for them, 5 for I'm going to speak. I don't know what all that's about.
See how much people are buying in this year to that.
No, I think it's a cool thing. Like, that's like a jump moment. In college, we used to the We Ready song used to kind of trickle into us standing in the tunnel because we inevitably were always in the tunnel too early. Okay, so we were on a lot of like Thursday night games, Saturday night games. We were on TV all the time. You have to wait for the deal. We were awesome to watch. Pat White, Steve Slayton, they just were awesome to watch. And ESPN was like, oh, our highest rated games are when these guys are on. Let's put them on every Thursday because who cares about school for these kids? And we were like, you're right. We don't care. Let's go ahead and do it. But you're inevitably in there long. Whenever that would start echoing through the tunnel, that was like cool. Like those were moments that you think. And I would assume the Drew Brees thing where they're jumping, like that's a moment people enjoy. But when you just got one person up there yelling just the most empty words of all time that he read in a book that he's supposed to motivate people with, I mean, it is tough. But then the media people were always like, did you see the leadership of blah, blah, blah?
Wow.
And the whole locker room's like, that guy would never fucking talk when the camera's not on. Let's go ahead and move out here. Let's go to Kyle down there in Louisville. What's going on, Kyle?
What's up, Pat and the boys? Happy Feel Good Friday.
Hey, happy Feel Good Friday to you two down there in Louisville. What's going on there, pal? This guy stinks.
Kyle, where'd he go?
Such a good start.
He was there.
Hello?
Kyle.
Pat.
Kyle.
Hey, so I know a lot of people were questioning whether or not Patrick Mahomes earned all that millions and millions he got, but I think that debate should be put to rest after last night. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. He's unbelievable.
Was it a debate, though? Who was debating that?
Yeah, who was saying that?
I don't think anybody was. Well, the people that were saying that his contract wasn't good for him. I think that was the debate, was like, this $503 million deal is a bad deal for Patrick Mahomes, good deal for the Chiefs. It's like, how many billions do you have?
Yeah.
If you're saying that's a bad deal. I think that's the only debate. I don't think anybody was talking about him not being good. Will he be able to do this forever? I don't know.
How long is forever?
10 years?
I think he could do it for 10 for sure. Like when does this decline? Because he is very athletic. He moves around well, but how he throws, like he's so unique at different arm angles he can use. That we know the no-look stuff, but he just also seems to have a supreme level of confidence in himself. And the whole team loves it. Like it's fun to watch Patrick Mahomes play. Like I got juiced when Kelsey caught that touchdown, a little bunch route they ran down there by the goal line. What a magnificent play, how that was drawn up, in the timing for Mahomes to hit him as soon as Kelsey kind of creeps through and splits a couple defenders and turns his head, ball's there, touchdoall, bam, we're on a road. We're on the roll. It was awesome.
How about rolling left, cross his body, sidearm throw to the back of the end zone that hits off the guy's face? It was like, that ball is unbelievable at this. And this is week 1. We can't even, guys aren't even really, he hasn't got a chance to play against anybody else. They haven't really got a chance to see anything from and that's just week 1 he's doing all that stuff. I don't know how you slow him down. I guess the only way is if COVID-19, what you said yesterday, right. AJ, you're like, I guess COVID-19 could potentially slow his ass down.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
you
did.
We heard a debate
for
it.
You did. I guess I should know now when I say if somebody can stay healthy, I'm not talking about COVID. I'm talking about injuries.
Now you want him to get injured.
Well, health is health, AJ.
Yeah, health is wealth, actually, and you're just wishing on COVID on people. Let's go to Chad in California. What's going on, Chad?
What's going on, boys? It's a Feel Good Friday. Football is back, baby.
Let's go, Chad.
Hell yeah.
What part of California in, Chad?
Southern California, Pat, Inland Empire, down here, pretty much in between Vegas and L.A., baby.
Are you driving right now? Let's do a traffic update. How's it look around you?
Man, I'm out here in a smaller town, man, out here on these dirt roads, so no traffic here.
All right.
Dirt road, that's a song.
Hey, but, now you're talking about that.
Lay back, swerve like I'm George Jones. Coming out the window, an ice cold beer sitting in the console. Memory lane up in the headlights. Sorry about that, Chad. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Oh, Pat, I got a question about the Colts, but real quick, you're talking about the Super Boost. I got to get the hell out of California because my bookie's not giving those same odds to me, baby. I gotta get with FanDuel, and one thing you know about us kicking in the Colts, and how about this guy Rodrigo coming in, taking over for the GOAT? I mean, he was kicking moonshots at Georgia. I think he has a chance to get the lead by storm and really make some noise out there, kicking, between the uprights.
I just hope he makes some kicks, Jed. That's all I hope. Because there's a lot of great college kickers that get in the NFL and just, for some reason, can't hit the fucking target. I don't know why. I don't think Rodriguez is going to do that. He's had to battle here to get his job against another great kicker in Chase, who's already been signed, I think, somewhere else. But I love Hot Rod. I respect the specs. I saw him down at the SEC. I just hope he makes some kicks. I hope there isn't a lot of pressure on him. I just hope he gets in there and makes some damn kicks.
Do you think it's going to be harder for kickers with no fans, like not seeing anyone behind? Like, does that change anything?
I think, now I was thinking about that because what's that baseball movie where the guy is the pitcher and he goes lock in or whatever? It's like
Rookie?
Maybe The Rookie.
Major League?
No.
Nah, yeah,
Field of Dreams. We're talking about the Cucumbas?
I don't know what that one
Oh,
is.
he puts the headphones on.
No.
I think you are talking about The Rookie, yeah.
I think it is The Rookie, where it's like you try to basically introduce him and the catcher. All he sees is the mitt, and you're trying to block out all the other noise, right? And kicking is a lot of the same thing. You're just trying to focus on your job and try to block out all the other noise. I wonder if it'll be easier or harder with no noise for kickers and punters. Like for me, for instance, I liked whenever there was some noise. Like I enjoyed the atmosphere. Like I liked the environment. I like whenever people were chirping me. I like when that's going on. That's why whenever I become a professional golfer with the senior thing, I don't know how much it's going to be with it being quiet. It might be like a Happy Gilmore thing. Like, hey, let's make a little. When I'm golfing, I need music on. I need people talking. So I don't know how it's going to be for kickers and punters. Did you see anything or think about anything whenever it comes to like putting your face into a fan with only like 17,000 fans in the stands last night, which is the most any team is going to have? Did you see that affect anybody last night?
No, I didn't. Not really. But I mean, I don't know if it was with the crowd noise they pumped in or whatever, but it was very loud. Like it felt like a normal game at times. Not the whole time, but there was moments when it felt like, oh yeah, this is normal football pre-COVID.
I talked to Tom Pelissaro about this. When I was watching the game and I heard the sound, I just kept like bouncing like, yeah, I think their fans could make that amount of noise. Like, yeah, I think those fans could be making that amount of noise. If there's nobody in the stands, which is going to happen in a lot of places, the Colts have 3.5% of their stadium going to be at capacity. 3.5%.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
2,500.
2,500.
Okay.
I don't know how they got on that number. It was originally supposed to be like 25%. Now it's 2,500 people. It's potentially them like just trying to test out how, because they didn't have a preseason game either, to test out how we get people in and out of the stands, which I can proceed with caution, I guess. But 2,500 people, that's going to look empty in there. And then if you have that sound playing, if they show the stands, I think a natural mind will be like, well, there's nobody in there to be making that noise. But with yesterday, I was like, I think it feels like they could maybe make that amount of noise. But once they show the game, and if you could just get trapped in the game for a little bit and that sound comes in, I think you just kind of dial it in. But for the players, they know there ain't a son of a bitch in these stands. I mean, it's going to be, it's an interesting environment, but we're in an interesting world right now. Let's go to Kevin, who's from Parts Unknown. This is going to suck.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
How's it going, y'all? I just want to say welcome back to Sirius, man. It's good to have y'all back. I'm out here just wandering around with the pockets full of vitamins. Y'all making my day a lot better. I just want to say, man, go Chiefs. It's going to be a good weekend of football.
That a boy, Kevin. Parts Unknown. I didn't hate him as bad as I thought.
No, that wasn't bad.
I didn't hate him as bad as I thought.
Pocket full of sunshine.
That was my alarm clock for a couple of years.
Good. It's good.
Betting fields. I mean, she did it.
I guess it's just about cocaine. I didn't know that.
Natasha?
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I got a pocket full of sunshine. I got it's all mine.
I gotta blow mine. Yeah.
I thought it was about dildos.
Oh. I didn't know that. Everybody thought I was a cokehead. I ended up in a hotel room with like 15 people, and I didn't turn off the alarm, and I was sleeping on the floor. And all of a sudden, I got a pocket of sunshine came on at like 6:30 or whatever. And there was one guy that I did not know well. He was like, "Do you?"
Wait, Connor, what did you think it was about?
I thought it was about dildos, like pocket full of sunshine. I got
that'd make more sense.
Yeah, you're the dumbest. Let's go to Greg in Iowa. What's going on, Greg? He's dumb.
Take me away. No, I'm just playing. What's up, Pat? Welcome to the spot.
That's good.
Hey,
That was good.
Good call, Greg. Good call.
Just wanted to ask you about, as a football player, former, like Vikings, Bears, Bucks, Saints this weekend. Those are huge games, right? Especially with the COVID off season. So, how do you feel about early season divisional games being so important? These teams are not going to be looking their best. How do you feel about that?
Greg, great question. Those are real. Divisional games matter, AJ. Like Bucks and Saints, week one here, those teams probably don't even know what the hell they're going to look like. That's a big time implications game that they have right out of the jump.
Yeah, it is. Didn't you want to expand on that further? You were jumping around all excited to answer that as a former football player.
Well, normally when people come on here, they just, they know me as a guy who talks in a microphone. They don't know me as a football player. So whenever you describe me as a football player, almost want to get back in there, put the helmet on, fucking strap it up a little bit and bang some heads. You know what I mean? That's what I thought about. But the divisional games are a big deal. Like, for instance, Lions-Bears this weekend. Huge. Massive game. Yeah. Those implications could mean a lot here in like 15, 16 weeks. Bucs-Saints, massive game. I mean, there is
Packers-Vikings.
Browns-Ravens. I mean, there is a lot of very, very big-time games here in the first weekend that I don't think I normally see. I don't think this is normal for this.
There's a lot of intriguing matchups that you go down the list, every game that is on there, I'm like, okay, yep. I have multiple reasons why I want to watch every game. I would say like the two games that I'm intrigued the least are probably the two Monday night games. I know you guys will be upset because one of them is Pittsburgh at New York.
AJ.
And the other is Tennessee at Denver, which, I do care about that game, just not as much as others.
Von Miller got surgery today on his foot. He'll be out at least 3 months, they're saying. Von Miller asks, what would Kobe do on his social media? So let's assume he'll be back earlier, like our guy Finn from West Virginia. Let's go to Aisley in Missouri. What's going on, Aisley?
Pat, I need a pick-me-up.
Okay.
I am a diehard Raiders fan, and there's all this talk about the Chiefs. Please pick me up. Tell me something good about the Raiders.
Nah, you guys are fucked for at least the next 10 years, I think. How long they lock in Patrick Mahomes?
10 years.
Cool stadium.
Hey, Las Vegas Stadium's awesome. When you go out there, you have a great time. And, hey, going to win some games probably. The team was much better than they were supposed to be last year. Going to win some games. But I think that division is going to be very much like the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Bills have had for the last 15, 20 years.
There's a good chance if Derek Carr gets injured this year that Nathan Peterman's going to be your starting quarterback. So that's pretty cool.
That's cool. And, hey, Gruden said Peterman's good at football, AJ. He said Nathan Peterman's good at football.
Yeah, he's not bad at football. He's a quarterback in the NFL. I mean, he may throw some picks early on, but you can't say he's a bad player.
It was a catchable ball.
I agree. If we're going to talk just like in general of like if we're playing backyard football, you would take Nathan Peterman for sure.
Of course.
Yeah, it depends who's standing next to him.
AJ, can you throw a football at all? You stink at it?
No, I can throw a football. I was backup quarterback in high school.
That's
With
those
deal.
shoulder pads?
For the team that didn't throw the ball too much.
Yeah, you guys ran triple option, right? I mean, you know what you guys did?
Well, yeah, I played tailback, so I wanted to run the ball. I didn't want to play quarterback and hand it off.
Whoa. Let's go to Billy Dunner in North Carolina, 1-888 Mad Dog 6. By the way, what's up, Billy, on this Feel Good Friday? Only got a few minutes left.
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Pat?
Not too shabby. When did you decide Billy instead of Bill or William or Will?
I have no clue. You'd have to ask my mom that. She named me William, and they've always called me Billy. So.
All right, Willie.
We got a Bailey we call Bill. So
Yeah.
I like
great
the name Billy a lot. What do you want to talk about, bub?
Okay, well, I was talking about a game to watch this weekend in college football, UNC versus Syracuse with Sam Howell under center at quarterback for UNC and Mac Brown back. I think that this is a big year for the Tar Heels.
I agree. Tar Heels are ranked top 10, I think, for the first time, or top 15. I forget exactly where they're at.
They're in the 25.
They're in the top 20, whatever it is. North Carolina, good recruiting. Mac Brown is a good guy. And the Syracuse coach was the only coach that refused to talk to us before the games last year. So I hope they lose. I hope they lose them all.
Stooge.
Wait, he wouldn't speak to the whole production crew?
He did, but it was like a call. You know, he didn't have enough time for a face-to-face with us. You know, it was like he was the only one. Everybody else was like, yeah, let's go. Hasselbeck, Adam, Molly, and McAfee are going to come in? Yeah, come on. They would just give us, like,
get in here.
Everything we could possibly give. They're the only ones that were like, we do calls only around here. It's like, well, wait till you hear my call about your team then. Let's see how that goes. We'll see how that goes, pal. How about you? You got a big game coming up here? 14 days. You got some time, I guess.
I got some time, yeah. Tulane at Southern Miss.
Oh, it's a good game.
That one's circled.
Good game. You know, this weekend, Charlotte 49ers versus Appalachian State Mountaineers, noon tomorrow. Dan Orlovsky on the call, AJ.
Wait. Yeah, but he's doing it from the studio in Connecticut.
Yeah, he's sitting in a 20 by 20 room, staring at a television, yelling at it.
Man, that's got to be weird. I want to watch because I want to see what it looks like, what it sounds like.
Hey, did COVID killed Collinsworth sliding? That son of a bitch.
Yeah, it did.
I don't like that.
You think there's any chance, like later in the year when protocols are relaxed a little bit, that he could bring it back?
I like that they were, by the way, they weren't masked. They were sitting in the same area. I think there was some glass potentially between them, but they didn't look, maybe not. It seemed like they were spaced out. The coverage of the game, Al Michaels has not skipped a beat, by the way. They were talking about the nuke trade, and it was whenever the ball was handed off to David Johnson, like as it was happening, and he was like traded for this man amongst others. It was just like so smooth. Like Al Michaels still got his fastball, and I've heard there's a couple games, I guess, where Tirico's going to be calling this year instead of Al Michaels. And everybody always assumed that at some point Tirico would take over Sunday Night Football, but Al Michaels just is never losing it. I don't think Al Michaels is ever going to lose it.
No, I mean, like you said, last night, if you just get lost in the game, you couldn't tell anything else was going on. It felt like a normal regular season game.
And he and Collinsworth have great rapport, and they even talked about how the stadium looked empty, AJ, which I got yelled at for in our game together.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that was pre-COVID, I guess, when you made your comment down in Texas. But yeah, it did feel normal. But I mean, I think people take Al Michaels for granted, like how great that dude really is, because he makes it look so easy.
Anything too. He'll call anything. He's really good. And at this point, he's just living his best life, traveling around calling the football games with little Chris Collinsworth. But that slide-in disappearing, not happy about it.
Devastated.
Okay, 2020 has brought a lot of shit. Okay, murder hornets, a pandemic, a work stoppage, a sports stoppage.
Yeah.
But if it is the death of the Collinsworth slide, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go battle COVID-19.
That's where we draw the line.
Let's go to Ben in Toronto, international call. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? Happy Feel Good Friday.
Hey, happy Feel Good Friday to you. What do you got going on, bub?
I've got a message for Boston Connor over there. I just want to let him know that Kyle Lowry's fat caboose is coming for them tonight.
Okay. Game 7, Celtics Raptors.
Yeah. All right.
Do you watch basketball at all, AJ?
Here and there. I don't watch a whole lot.
Yeah. I don't think anybody is what I've been told.
Yeah. It's football season now, so.
Yeah. But it's Game 7 tonight, by the way.
Can't wait. Hey,
Celtics Raptors, big night tonight. Oh, he has his Patriots jersey on.
Nice.
Now he's put his Celtics jersey on. Smart.
Can't wait.
You
Game 7, baby. Here we go.
You cannot claim that Connor is not, I guess, well versed on basketball. That dude, Connor. I told him where I went to high school, and Connor's like, "Oh yeah, they got a stud on their team." And the kid was a true freshman last year, and Connor already knew about it.
At my wedding, he was watching games on his phone, like that fucking commercial that people do. He was doing that at my wedding, and my lady just found out about that just now. Who knows? It
was the Lakers game.
It didn't matter.
Yeah. First round of the playoffs.
Exactly, first round.
Doesn't matter.
Hey,
nobody cares.
Can't miss anything.
Let me tell you about this beautiful company called Shady Rays. You know, whenever you look at me with these bad boys on, the only thing you can think is, hey, cool glasses. By the way, boys, cool glasses.
Thank you. Cool glasses. Thank you.
Shady Rays has been one of our sponsors for a long time. And they're a company that has a bunch of incredible pairs of shades. Not only sunglasses, but blue tint glasses to help protect your eyes, both for the sun and technology. And they have the greatest warranty going in all of anything. Replacements of shades if they're lost or broken for any reason. It doesn't matter what happens, dropped in an ocean, lake, anything, they'll replace them. Try that with any other snobby-ass sunglass company. And most Shady Rays only cost $48, which is obviously a lot cheaper than everybody else. So you get a free pair if you break them or lose them.
Yep.
And they're less than everybody else. And you look incredibly cool and smart and sophisticated like I do and the rest of the boys. Exclusively for viewers and listeners of us, there's a deal that you cannot refuse. This is a Black Friday level deal in the middle of September.
Yes.
Use code McAfee for 25% off any pair of shades at ShadyRays.com. 25% off ShadyRays.com. You get the blue hue glasses, I believe is how they're described, to protect your eyes if you're looking at technology, looking at media all day. Get the sunglasses. They look incredibly cool. 25% off. They're already low prices at ShadyRays.com using code McAfee, MCAFE. Shout out to Shady Rays in their incredible glasses, incredible deal, and incredible warranty. AJ, I don't see you have any glasses on, but that'll have to change someday so you can say cool glasses. What are your last words of inspiration for listeners and watchers on this beautiful Friday?
I don't have a whole lot of inspiration for people, but they have to be pretty excited.
Yes.
Football started last night in the NFL, and this Sunday I think we have a great slate of games, and we're going to be able to come in and overreact on Monday.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to overreact on Monday. Aaron Rodgers will be joining us Tuesday. Another slew of guests, a full week on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. We are so thankful to everybody that watched and listened. Hammer Don will be launching yet another episode at Pat McAfee, or youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. And on the other side for Mad Dog Radio is the Mad Dog himself, legend in the sports talking world, Chris Mad Dog Russo, who had to give us the okay to be on the channel. We can't thank you enough. This has been a hell of a week. Football is back. Have the greatest weekend you could potentially have in the world that we're in. We thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. Cheers. Hey, you too. Great job, you too.
Thanks, Joel.
Man. Great job, Joel.
Great job,
Great
Bob.
job.
Great job, Bob. Hey, Bob, you have a better weekend, pal.
Good one, Bob.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
You got that.
By the way, normally whenever we get into that, you have a better weekend. The response is, no, you have a better weekend. Bob just said, you're right, I'm going to.
I will beat you.
And I like that. I like that a lot. AJ, what do you got on deck this weekend? Anything? Just chasing the kids around or what?
Is that pencil have 2 erasers on it?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's a cool pencil.
What's that for?
Racing.
Stuff?
Just to erase? Then where's your actual pencil that you write with?
Great question.
It's
Yeah,
mechanical.
It's a mechanical pencil. I use mechanical pencils just because it's always sharp. You don't have to fucking sharpen it. You know what I mean?
Serial killers write with normal pencils.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
true.
That's what we've been told.
And Matt Patricia.
Well, he's a football coach. It's different.
Mr. Perfect.
It's like construction.
And Galladay's out, so they have no chance.
And also, this thing's cool for this move right here. You know what I mean? This one. Then you flip it around the other side.
Whoa.
You don't have to worry about getting stabbed.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about getting stabbed.
Lead poisoning.
And you can erase whatever you fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
You want to get
How do you think Mitch Trubisky's going to look, Pat?
Terrible. I think he's going to play really bad.
Yeah.
I think he's going to stink.
They're just
Detroit's defense enough, though, to make him look that bad?
I think the defense will be trying here early because they haven't given up hope on the Chicago Bears season yet. Like
They're done.
they potentially did middle of the season last year. So I think it's going to be a good game. But the Lions without Kenny Galladay is going to be tough.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough,
him.
I think.
What's going on with him? When will he be back?
I don't know. It was announced today that he's potentially questionable.
AJ, he's playing. Don't listen to them, all right? This is just the
No, it
Patriot
doesn't
way.
sound
Just
like
make
it.
him questionable.
real
and then he's
news?
there on
Doesn't
Sunday, and the
sound like
Bears are
he's going
surprised,
to.
and then we come out and we win, and then we win the next game, and the next game, and the next game, 10-6 playoff win.
Foxy, don't lie to these
Whoa.
people.
Is that real news, Evan?
You breaking that right
No,
now?
that's just my
I mean,
speculation.
is that really like your lofty goals though? 10-6 in a playoff.
AJ,
Yeah.
I'm 26. I've never seen a playoff win. I just want to see a playoff win.
AJ, I want to dig even deeper into that about lofty goals in that back room back there. There's a Miami Dolphins fan from Canada back there that said he would sacrifice his left nut if the Miami Dolphins beat the Patriots week 1. That's coming up this Sunday. He would give up his left nut. Not week 16, week 17, not a game that matters for playoffs. Just a win this weekend with a brand new New England Patriots, basically. He would give his left nut. That's lofty goals right there.
Well, I just became the biggest Dolphins fan on the planet.
Let's go, AJ. He gets it. Look at his hands. He knows.
What are you saying about his hands?
Where is this mystery man speaking from? I can't see him either.
He's in the back. I don't know if we have a camera on.
He's scooting up.
We don't. He's got a good beard, dude. He's got a good beard.
AJ?
Oh, that mic's off.
What's up, AJ?
You are, man. What's happening? Good to hear your accent, man. You sound great.
Can't hear anything.
You sound great, though.
Say thanks, pal.
You sound great.
He said he can't hear a damn thing. Hey, this has been a hell of a week, AJ. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Had fun. Can't wait till Monday.
Hammer down. Hey, we're going to do a Survivor thing. Do you want to get involved with this? Plus or minus 1 point on the spread. Survivor, we'll all pick our favorites, and then we'll try to see who lasts the longest throughout the weekend. For instance, for me, I got the Colts at -6.5 this weekend. Normally -7.5 for our Survivor pool, which will be debuting here on Hammer Down in about 30 seconds. Do you have a pick?
In what game? In any game?
Any game.
Yeah.
Any game.
I don't know any of the odds, but yeah, I want a team.
Cowboys -2?
Yeah.
All right, AJ's Cowboys -2. All right. AJ, we appreciate you. We'll see everybody watching. We're going to shut down this stream, and then we will launch a Hammer Don stream. Join us all. We'll be talking about bets going into the first weekend. Let's get rich. I got paid last night. I'm going to be honest. Let's continue that as much as we can. We appreciate you so much for watching. We'll be back on the other side with Hammer Down. You're the best. Cheers.
Thanks, fellas.